Yo, EMD? Yeah, what's up, man? There go that girl they call Roxanne. She's all stuck up.
Why you say that?
Cause you wouldn't give a guy like me no rap. Man, she was walking down the street, so I said, hello, can't go from your TFO. And she so, I said, so, baby, don't you know I can sing, rap, dance in just one show? Cause can't go, Mr. Sophisticator. As far as I know, ain't nobody greater from beginning to end and to beginning. I never lose because I'm all about winning, but if I was to lose, I wouldn't be upset, cause I'm not a gambler. I don't bet, I don't be in no casino. And baby, playing Nizzo, the is the grizzly, kiss and gizzo. I thought you'd be impressed and give me devious rap. I thought I had a book inside my sinister trap. I thought it'd be a piece of cake, but it was nothing like that. I guess that's what I give a thing, it ain't that right, black. Business precise to kiss him, and see this I'm a wizard. Chris who is I can tease her of his ass just like a dealing with her. Bang, bang, brother, I feel bad, but I ain't committing suicide for no crap. Calling her a crab is just a figure of speech, cause she's an apple, a pear, a plum, and a peach. I thought I had it in the palm of my hand, but man, oh man, if I was grand, I'd bang Roxanne.
Roxanne, Roxanne,
can't you understand?
Roxanne, Roxanne,
I wanna be your man. Yo, Kango, I don't think that you're dense, but you went about the matter with no experience, you should know. She doesn't need a guy like you, she needs a guy like me, with a high IQ. And she'll take to my rap, cause my rap's the best. The educated rapper MD will never fess. So when I met her, I wasted no time, but stuck up Roxanne, paid me no mind. She thought my name was Larry, I told her it was Gary. She said she didn't like it, so she chose to call me Barry. She said she loved to marry, my baby she would carry. And if we had a baby, we'd name the baby Harry. Her mother name is Mary, which is really quite contrary. Her face is very hairy, and you can say he's scary. She lives in Nairi, our father's a fairy. His wife's a secretary, his son's a military. To force him to a list against it wasn't voluntary. His daughter's name is Sherry, his son's a Tom and Jerry. Sherry had the flu, but it was only temporary. Back in January, or was it February? But every time I say this rhyme, it makes me kinda weary. It's only customary to give this commentary. Some say it's bad, some say it's legendary. You're searching all you want to try your local library. You never find a rhyme like this in any dictionary. But do you know, after all that, all I received was a pat on my back. That's what you get, it happened to me. Ain't that right, Mix Master ICE?
Roxanne, 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 Roxanne.
You thought you had a rope, you thought you was Cupid, but EMD, your rap was plain stupid. I know you're educated, but when will you learn? Not all girls want to be involved with bookworms. You gotta be strong to which you can't resist. So educated rapper, bust this. Since she's a new girl around the block, I had to let her know I was the debonair doc. I said I like to speak with you if I can. And if I'm correct, hey, your name is Roxanne. She said, how'd you know my name? I said, it's getting around. Right now, baby, you're the talk of the town. Please let me walk you to the corner. My rap will be brief. She said, I've seen you before. You look like a thief. I said, me? The doc? A hood? A rock? Running around the street robbing people on the block? Nah, that's not my style. The crime, I'm not related. As far as I'm concerned, I'm too sophisticated. Then it seems I got cause she cracked a smile. That let me know my rap was worth a while. She said, you call yourself a doctor? I said, listen to you. She said, explain to me really what doctors must do. I said, this is very good cause I don't say this every day. It's a major medical field the doctor must play. Dermatology is treatment of the skin. Infected and you see me over and over again. There's anesthesiology, ophthalmology, internal medicine and plastic surgery, orthopedic surgery and pathology of disease caused by the change of the body. She said, ooh, that's very unique. Gave me her number and kissed me on the cheek. She said she had to go but she'd be back by 8. Told me call at 9 to arrange a date. Did you take it to the beach? That's what we planned. But she stood me up. Roxanne, Roxanne,
Roxanne, Roxanne,
I wanna be your man.
Roxanne, Roxanne,
and here's our game plan.
The beat is here,
so we will reveal it.
And if you think it's soft,
then Roxanne, feel it. Mix Master.
I said this is true. He said explain to me really what MCs must do. Said listen very like a disser. It's something that your MC just won't miss her. And if you think it's cute and you think it's alright, but see you said it in a language so you wouldn't have to bite. You started talking big Latin, didn't make no sense. You thought you was cute, yeah, you thought you was a prince. You're walking down the block, holding your but everybody knows that you're all on my yacht. I'm just a devastating, always rocking, always have the niggas clocking. Everybody knows it's me, you know, always saying it with everybody pressure. Everyone that I'm the best. Every time I do it right, everyone is in the biter. Every time I do it, yeah, you know it is a me. Rocking on the beat that you can't see. And every time I have a DJ like Ice, he ain't right, yeah, he ain't nice because of everything he does is off the wall. Compared to my man Molly Moore, the way he gets on the tables, yes, everyone knows that he is fresh. So the UTFO crew, you know what you can do. Let me tell you one for me and then I'll tell you one for you. Every time you say something just like a disser, it ain't nothing that I don't wanna miss her. And if you're thinking that I'm biting at me, well then you just better know and listen to me. Because my name is Roxanne and I came to say I rock it to the beat and I do it every day. I'm conceited, never beat it, never heard of defeated. I rock it to the beat and you know it is a Mia, the Roxanne. And if you wanna play a little game for me, let me show you what you can do, baby. Cause with a twist on my cheek and a twist on my wrist, I have all the niggas dropping down like this. Yeah, I am fly, but don't stick to. And everybody knows I don't go for it. So if you're trying to be cute and you're trying to be fun, you need to cut it out cause it's all in your mind. Trying to be like me, yeah, is very hard. You think you a god, but you do Elon. Trying to be cute and you're trying to be fly. Don't you know you wish you could be my guy so I could take you home, make you relax. And everybody knows that you're out there trying to tax like corn on the car. You're always trying to rob. You need to be out there and get yourself a job. Yeah, you're trying to be and talk about Roxanne, but let me let you know you're not a real man. Cause Roxanne needs a man, and yes, someone fresh who always dressed. Someone, yeah, who will never vest. And then I'll say, yeah, the rest. Cause everybody knows how the story goes. There's no ifs, no ands, no buts or suppose. No coke up your nose, no dope in your veins. And then it won't cause no kind of pain. But yet and still, you're trying to be fly. I ask you a question, I wanna know why. Why'd you have to make a record about me? The Roxanne.
Roxanne, Roxanne.
Oh my goodness, I wanna be your man.
Roxanne, Roxanne.
And here's our game plan.
Get your gloves and yo, let's go head up. Wall to wall, y'all all are for. I don't store, cause in this brawl is when it takes all. A title bout for all the clout. Any hooker trying to step to this, it's lights out. One hit, your head split, throat slit. Think you miss it, but I started this shit. At 14 years old, I was going gold. While I was on tour, you was touring the whole stroke. Sucking dicks and turning tricks to get a quick fix. While I was putting dope hits in the mix. Ripping shows with Kane and Bismarck. He fucking up Roxanne and taking out Spark. Niggas came in flocks from blocks and blocks to watch the rocks knock bitches out the box. And every place I played, I headlined. Strictly big names on the top, it read mine. The QUEE, queen of MCing. Whenever I flow, it's poetry in motion. So you can save all the drama and get the fuck out the way. Here comes the big mama. Mama, ow! I gave birth to most of them MCs. Mama, mama, ow! I gave birth to most of them MCs. Mama, mama, ow! I gave birth to most of them MCs. Mama, mama, ow! I gave birth to most of them MCs. Rhymes are deadly, so hook 'em right out your will. Here comes the queen, foot first to your grill. Reciting poems that hit like boulders, smacking your head dead off your motherfucking shoulders. So nip all the talk in the bud. This ain't no game, boy, I came to draw blood. And any hag thinking that she could laugh with me, it only takes one blast and that ass will be wrecked, ruined, damaged, ripped. Cross my path, your ass will get whipped. Cause Shantae ain't about no games. Matter of fact, yo, I'ma start calling off names. First up is Latifah. You roll up and I'ma smoke that ass like reefer. Cause you ain't never in life been a star to me. So the fuck out trying to go R&B. Now that shit is shady. You say ladies first, well I'm the first lady. And all y'all hoes are phony. Try to get flippin', I'ma rip you and your girl Mona. sick of that money in the middle shit. Your album cold garbage. Had one good jam, now you think you a star, bitch. Breaking your neck trying to be in the limelight, but give you a mic and you can't even rhyme right. So get the fuck off the scene, cause I got an M16 that says Shiny's the queen. And all you bitches got your style from me. The capital SHANTE. Used to go to my show, analyze how the sound flow on the down low. Fuck around, lay around, ho. So save all the drama and make room for the big mama. Mama, mama, ow. I gave birth to most of them MCs. Mama, mama, ow. I gave birth to most of them MCs. Mama, mama, ow. I gave birth to most of them MCs. Mama, mama, ow. I gave birth to most of them MCs. The real queen's in effect. Whenever I come, yo, I come correct. And niggas give me the utmost due respect. And any had to try to last, or go get smoked like marijuana cause her ass is grass. I dig ditches for you bitches while I collect riches and give you a head full of stitches. Cause in a beef I don't sleep or lollygag. Sending your hags off stage in a body bag. Cause Shantae is a rebel. You say your light is a rock, you get crushed like a pebble. One word and I'm a bagger. Watch the bitch stagger, cause I don't dig the bull dagger. To me a butch don't deserve a mic in hand. Somebody tell her to stop acting like a man. She needs something real thick to help her out quick. And that's a good piece of dick. Now ask for that West Coast slut with fake ass hair contacts and a pet butt. Instead of stopping to the 90s, use your brain and stomp your ass down a Jack LaLanne. You better hurry and hop on a diet plan and keep the pork chops out the frying pan. Yeah, I said it, so what? You roll up slut, you get a fucking gun buck to your gut. I'm bringing tears to all my peers. I ain't new, I've been doing this shit for 10 years. Bring any hoe and I'll wreck her. I rip the nicest from ISIS down to salt and pepper. And now you know that I'm the star of the show, ho. While I get dough, you're giving up the yo. You say a nigga can't play with it? You got another job, well bitch, you better stay with it. Cause you ain't shit in this here. Shantae's the queen and I'm making it clear. Kicking flavor the way it's supposed to be. That's why no other MC's coming close to me. I leave them all in the dust. From crumbs to crust, it's a must that all opponents get bust. So get the fuck off the stage and save all the drama and make room for the big mama. Mama, mama, ow. I gave birth to most of them MCs. Mama, mama, ow. I gave birth to most of them MCs. Mama, mama, ow. I gave birth to most of them MCs. Mama, mama, ow.
These the last days. It's yours. These the last days. It's yours. These the last days. It's yours. These the last days.
It's all about taking my own life into my own hands. RBG, refine, be a grown man. See, that's what I'm doing, cause I know it's inside of me. All I gotta do is just bring it to reality. And fuck the government, but still gotta pay the rent. So yeah, I'm for the caper, most definite. Keeping it militant, focused, intelligent. Pimping the system is basic common sense. It's still fuck the bid. Black power ain't dead. All that red with blue shit be going to your heads. We break bread, it's like a game on board. Gotta train every day to keep your team on point. Cause still, to this day, our reparations ain't paid. And you can see it in the poverty around the way. It ain't even our own people on BET. So they gotta get it from somebody, it might as well be me. Besides, a nigga gotta eat when he hungry. See how they send troops to war for their country. Niggas worldwide need an army one. It's revolution to the fullest. Put the bullets in the gun, nigga.
These the last days. It's yours. 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 These the last days.
Peace. Black Power family. It's your boy Psychopath. Black at you. You know what I mean? I want to say what's up to everybody out there in the live chat. Just give me a second. I'm still getting everything together. Give me 1 second, family. I'll be with you. Let me get a one out there if everybody hears me clear. I want to make sure my audio is straight. I was trying to. All right, give me 1 second, family. All right. I'm good. All right, thanks, family. I appreciate that. All right, let's see. Sister Renee being here in a second, but while we waiting for her, let me get into this a little bit. You know what I mean? I want to give a backdrop to all this. I want to give my review, a backdrop, and then I'm gonna give my critical analysis at the end. All right. So I'm gonna pretty much treat this the same way I did the Panther. I'm gonna judge this as a movie fan first, and then I'm gonna critique it as far as like the factual stuff, and then I'm gonna give my critical analysis later. All right. So that's how we gonna do it. Now, I didn't even know this movie came out. Like, I was actually surprised when I found out about this. What you call it? I think I saw Lashid do a video about this yesterday. I saw she was about to go live, and she was. It's funny too. I got to mess with her for real quick. She did a video response. Wait, hold up, wait. She did a response to somebody else's review before she even gave her review. I had to laugh at that. I'm like, how's Lashid giving a response to a review before she even did her review? Like, shouldn't you do your review first before you start responding to other people's reviews? I don't know. I digress. Lashid, I got to tease you about that. But anyway, I digress. But I noticed she had, did the stream. The title of the stream. And I'm like, Roxanne Shantae biopic. I'm like, the fuck? I'm like, hold up, wait. What the fuck is Roxanne Shantae doing with a biopic? What the fuck is Roxanne Shantae doing with a biopic? Now, no disrespect to Roxanne Shantae, because Roxanne Shantae is like probably the first female MC the earliest female MC I could think of. I can't think of another female MC prior to Roxanne Shantae. Like, I'm gonna get into all that. So, but I don't want to delve too deep into that right now. But so, like, given the fact that that's the case, I saw where they might want to do a pick on her, but if you understood her career, you would know she really didn't make a lot of money within like as far as like her songs. Like, like she had that one hit. She had one hit, really. That's really all she had, was one hit. And the rest of the stuff that she did after that was underground. Like she had stuff that, the underground fans rocked with. Like people like myself could name a bunch of Roxanne Shantae songs. Your average person can't name Roxanne Shantae songs. If they do it, like now people know who she is because of the biopic. But like a month ago, a lot of these millennials never even heard of Roxanne Shantae. Just a month ago. You understand what I'm saying? So, and the people that did hear Roxanne Shantae pretty much only know it through the one song. Roxanne's Revenge. And I'm going to get into all that and everything else. But, I was surprised that she actually got a biopic. So I'm like, you would think, like somebody who's a little bit more established and accomplished a little bit more probably would have got that, like a Queen Latifah or MC Light, or it was other female MCs I thought that had bigger careers. But I'm like, well, she is the OG, so I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna give it a shot and listen, see what's going on. And I don't want to get too deep into all that yet, but I'm just gonna talk about the movie itself. A lot of this stuff that that happened, it was a very good movie. It was a good movie. It's worth the watch. It's something that you should watch at least once. I think you should watch at least once. I thought it was a good movie, better than I anticipated as far as like in depth. As far as because again, she all right, a lot of this stuff on a historical aspect, I'm just gonna get to the historical aspect. A lot of this stuff I already knew. Like, I think I've had streams where I discussed her in detail before because her name came up. I can't remember if it was one of my streams, could have been Lashid's stream, whatever, because she talks about music a lot. But I remember telling people, like, Roxanne Shantae, like she was this, that, and the third. Her baby father's from Newark. She used to live in Newark at one point, and this other stuff, everything else. So all that I knew about. I knew she was young when she first started. So all that part, all that aspect, a lot of the stuff they were saying, I already knew, but I didn't know what detail some of the stuff that was happening, because I wasn't in her personal life. So therefore I didn't know how deep in detail a lot of this stuff went, and I didn't know all this behind the scenes stuff with the Juice Crew and everything else. And they really did, which is one of my all right, like I said, it's a good movie as far as a good story to tell. One of my knocks on it, I had a couple. One of them would be, I don't feel like they focused on her music career enough. I went into this wanting to know more about her music career, and I thought it was going to be a movie, a biopic about an artist who just so happened to have a rough life in the projects. Instead, I got a story about a girl who had a rough life in the projects who just so happened to be an artist. You understand what I'm saying? Like, the music was not the main focus of this movie. You're really not coming out of this movie, if you didn't know nothing about Roxanne Shantae, you're really not walking out of this movie thinking, you understand her as an artist or anything like that, like, because they really didn't touch into that too much. They kind of just, grazed over a lot of that shit, and just kind of just speedball into certain things. There's a lot of things that they didn't touch on. How do you have a Roxanne Shantae biopic and you don't even have UTFO or the real Roxanne, or people that depict the UTFO or the real Roxanne in the movie? How is that even possible? That doesn't even make any sense. You can't do that. Oh man, that is the equivalent of somebody making a movie about Kenan and Kel, but they don't mention Kel. They just talk about Kenan. The whole movie's about Kenan, but they don't talk about Kel at all in the movie. You're going to be like, how the fuck you even do that? You can't talk about him without talking about Kel. You understand what I'm saying? Because Roxanne Shantae, because for people that don't know the backdrop and everything else, in the early days of hip hop, you had what was, the Wild Wild West, I like to call it. It was pretty much, again, it was a new art form. We are talking the early 80s. We talking around 1982, 83. We talking over 30 years ago. 35, about 35 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So, like, hip hop was brand new as far as, like, I've told these stories before, but I gotta stress this again because y'all need to know the atmosphere of what was going on around this time. Hip hop was not played every day, all day on the radio the way it is today. And when I say this, I can't stress this enough. As I know a lot of y'all probably can't fathom what I'm saying. There was no internet. There was no MP3s. There was no, it was, we had record players and tape cassettes. And, hip hop was brand new and it got no spins on the radio. The only time we got to hear hip hop around 1982, we talking around 82 or whatever, 82, 83. The only time we got to hear hip hop as young kids, I was a young kid around this time, we used to have was on Friday and Saturday nights were the only time hip hop was being played on the radio. That was the only time we was able to get new music. And every Friday and Saturday night, everybody had their audio tapes, and they had them in their little boom boxes. You know, they had the record button down, and they had to make sure it was on pause. First, you had to pause the motherfucker, and then you had to push the play and the record button at the same time and push that down. Now, when you did this, what you was doing was setting up your tape to be able to record the second you unpause it. Because, you know, you didn't want no commercials in your shit. Because what we was actually doing was what would be known later to be the mixtape. This is where the whole philosophy of the mixtape came from. Was our generation had to set up our tapes on Fridays and Saturdays, and we had to wait for DJ Red Alert, Chuck Chill Out, some at one point Marley Marl eventually got a time spot, Mr. Magic. We had to wait for these DJs, these iconic hip-hop DJs that help put hip-hop on the map, and be honest with you, they don't get enough respect for their contribution to hip-hop. Because without them, we wouldn't have had hip-hop on the radio, because they was the only ones playing it in the entire country. In 1980, we talking 1982, 1983. They was the only ones playing it in the entire country. And they had to hold it down, because if these DJs did not hold it down at that time frame, mind you, the Northeast is what birthed this hip hop shit. I live in the area that birthed this whole culture. So if we wasn't going to support the culture, nobody was. This culture would have failed over 30 years ago if we didn't hold down the culture. So I got to give props to the DJs throughout the course of the hard times, throughout the course of the fad era, when hip-hop was just supposed to have been a fad. It was noise pollution and all this whole other rhetoric I heard about hip-hop. If it wasn't for these DJs on Friday and Saturday nights giving the records they proper spins, hip-hop today would, well, it ain't no real hip-hop today, but y'all get what I'm saying. Hip-hop wouldn't be what it is today as far as being accepted in the mainstream. So I got to give these DJs props. But anyway, I digress. This is what we had, right? So we had Friday and Saturday nights with these DJs, right? They had like 2-hour time slots, you know, a piece. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, we would be there with our tape, you know, ready to hit record. Anytime every time the commercials went off, we unpaused it. We had to unpause our tape so we could record whatever they was about to play. Because, you know, we had to record it, because we ain't recorded, we got to wait a whole nother week to hear it again. So, you know, we had to record it so we could bang it all week in our boom boxes. You know what I'm saying? We, you know, especially if you was into dancing like I was at the time, you know, break dancing and shit, you know, like that was our shit. That's what we did. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, like at the end of the day, you know, this was the culture. This was the culture in the beginning forms of hip hop, right? So I'm trying to give y'all an atmosphere of what was going on and how everything was lined up musically. You understand? So what happened was Full Force. I don't know how many of y'all know who Full Force is. Full Force is a group / producers that produced a lot of hit records, worked with a lot of different artists. They had their own projects they worked on. They actually did some acting. They played in House Party. If you ever see House Party, you see the guys, the big dudes that was chasing Kid and Play all around, saying, we gonna kick your fucking ass. You know, those the motherfuckers, yeah, that's Full Force, right? Full Force had a rap group that they was trying to promote and put out. You know, a rap group that they was producing and that they wanted to put out. Let's see, what's that? Tender Love? Yeah, well, Tender Love was the Force MDs. But they worked with Full Force as well. The Force MDs worked with Full Force. So yeah, you're semi right. They did work on Tender Love. I believe they produced it. But yeah, so Full Force was looking to produce this rap group, and by the name of UTFO. Right? Now, they recorded a EP, not an EP. They recorded a 45. You want to say, like, you know, it was a single. You know, it had the A side and the B side, right? Now, the A side had this song. I believe the name of the song was called "Get Up" or something like that or whatever. And it was more on some party type stuff. You know, typical 80s party rap for the time. You know, whatever the case may be. You know, that was the A side song. That was supposed to have been they breakout coming out party song. And then they had a little small song they threw on the B side that really wasn't supposed to be about nothing. You know, it kind of was just, you know, just a throwaway song just to have on the B side. So, because, you know, you had to have two songs on these little singles or whatever. You had the A side and the B side. So you kind of needed two songs. And this was kind of just a throwaway song. And they sent the record out to DJ Red Alert, you know, who was working for 98.7 Kiss FM at the time. You know, this is back when Kiss FM was still around. And so, you know, this is the glory days. And so, you know, he sent the record to Red Alert. Now, when they sent the record to Red Alert, they okay, give me 1 second. Hey, what's going on, Renee? Give me 1 second. I'm up here just giving the backdrop. Give me 1 second. I'll be right with you. Now, what? Let's see. I hope I don't got no echo. All right. Yeah, I'm live. Yeah. So they sent the record to DJ Red Alert. Now, when they sent the record to DJ Red Alert, they actually told him to play the A side of the record. Now, when they played the A, now Red Alert heard the A side of the record, didn't really dig the song on the A side, flipped it over, heard the B side, which happened to be Roxanne, and he took a liking to the song. So Red Alert was like, fuck that. I don't want to play this other song. This shit's kind of, you know, kind of whack. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna play this other song. This other song, you know, is hitting. You know, I think this could get some, you know what I mean, this could get some buzz behind it. So Red Alert plays the wrong song. You know, because they didn't want him to play that song. Red Alert actually played the wrong song, which was the Roxanne song, and they actually was calling them up. It's a funny story behind this. They was actually calling them up like, yo, Red, like, yo, that ain't the song we wanted you to play, man. That, you know, they wanted you, you know, we wanted you to play the other side. Red was like, listen, man, the B side is better. And they was like, nah, but you supposed to. The B side is better. So, you know, like, and you know, the DJs had the last word at the end of the day, because the DJs called the shots. You know, DJs was the most powerful people in hip hop at this time. They actually never lost their power, but they was like, their power was through the roof at the time. You know, they controlled everything. You understand? They controlled the airwaves. They knew, like I said, it was only like 3 or 4 DJs in the entire nation playing hip hop. So you had to go through them. You know, so this is kind of what it was. So, you know, he was like, nah, the B side's better. So he started banging Roxanne like for the, you know, the entire weekend. And like next thing you know, the song just took off and blew up. Right? The Roxanne song, that shit, I mean, it was on fire. I mean, like, it was like, it got to the point where the normal DJs who usually didn't play hip hop throughout the course of the day and only played R&B, they had to eventually start jumping on and playing the song a tad bit. You know, they wouldn't kill the song. They would play it like every once in a, like, you might hear it once every 3 hours. But they had to try to slide it up into the rotation because there was so much request for the song. Now, again, this was abnormal because, you know, they tried to dismiss hip hop and they didn't even want to put it in the rotation, but they was forced to put this one in the rotation. So, you know, the song took off, everything else, this, that, third. And, but if you heard the song Roxanne, Roxanne, I played it in the beginning of the stream, but if you heard the original song Roxanne, Roxanne, it was just three, four guys talking about an imaginary girl. That's what the original song was. You know, they talking about imaginary girl, fictitious girl by the name of Roxanne that everybody wanted to talk to, everybody was trying to holler at, you know, and, you know, everybody was trying to spit game to, and whatever. So, Marley Marl, iconic DJ, you know, founder of the Juice Crew, you know, MC Shan, Biz Markie, Roxanne Shantae, Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap. Yeah, the Juice Crew, the infamous Juice Crew from Queensbridge. He was playing around with the Roxanne track, and then he saw Roxanne Shantae in the projects. They lived in the same projects. He saw Roxanne and Shantae in the projects, asked her to come up, spit over the Roxanne Shantae track. I mean, excuse me, over the Roxanne beat, and he was going to record it. I don't even think she knew that it was being recorded to be put on record and to get put out or whatever. You know, she was kind of just doing it. I think her story was she was running out doing laundry and and she kind of just like, you know, doing it quick, zip, you know, get some free jeans or whatever at the store or whatever. You know, she ain't think too much about it. So boom, they do it. You know, they drop it and they send it out to the DJs to file that next weekend or whatever. They hear it, love it, because this is something new. Like, okay, wow, like, hold up, y'all got a song with the actual girl Roxanne responding back to the dudes, and she's dissing them. Like, oh, this is gold. Like, that was gold at the time, you know. So it's like, oh yeah, like this is unheard of, you know. Like now, if something like that happened, nobody will pretty much bat an eye. You know, because that's kind of like commonplace now. You know, somebody make a song, it becomes a big hit. People will make a response to the song or something, or a counteraction to the song or whatever. You know, like that's kind of what happens now. It's like, you know, like that racist song that dropped a few months ago when you had like everybody had their own response to that video. You feel like that, like this is pretty much what happened back then with the Roxanne Shantae phenomenon. But at the time, this was unprecedented. Like this just wasn't happening. People wasn't just people was in diss records per se, but it wasn't to like honestly, this was like the first diss record that I could really think about that like directly attacked another song or another art, like directly. Like you had battles back then was way different than they are now. Like battles back then was more based on who can move the crowd more, like who can move the crowd the best, who can get the best reaction from the crowd. So, you know, you could get up there, have some whack bars, don't really say too much of nothing, say, throw your hands in the air, wave them like you just don't care. If all your boys are in the audience and they all going crazy waving their hands when you say that, you won the battle. That's how battles was set up back then. Who can make the crowd go crazy, right? It wasn't really about bars. It was less about bars and more about who can get a reaction. Well, things started to change, you know, as hip-hop came about and bars started to become more important. But this was like the first like diss track that was like really like a legit diss track that I could think of. And yeah, people heard this and lost their minds. And you know, her response actually started making more money than the original. You understand what I'm saying? Like honestly, the original song would have probably been forgotten about by now if it wasn't for Roxanne Shantae's response. Her response gave that song extra life, gave that group life. Because that group would have fell off the face of, actually they still fell off the face of earth, truth be told. But you know, like again, like she breathed new life into a song that was already like blown up. So, and she became attached to this song for the rest of her hip hop career. That's why her name became Roxanne Shantae, because you know her name's actually Shantae, and you know that. But that's how her name came about. And you know it was crazy, but it messed me up that they missed out on all that backdrop I just told you. Like the movie didn't touch on none of that. Like they just want, like, you know, I'm watching this movie and I'm 40 minutes in. The movie was an hour and a half long, right? About, it says an hour and 40 minutes, but you know, you take away the credits and all the other stuff, it came up to about an hour and a half, a little bit over. But I was 40 minutes in before they even showed Marley Marl or really started getting into hip hop. Like, she had these little BS little street battles, like a couple of those bullshit street battles, but it was like 2 of those before that and everything else. But that ain't what, you know, that's cool. But I wanted to, you know, like I wanted to hear about hip hop. Like, we talk about hip hop history here, and they kind of just skimmed over some major stuff. And how do you not have UTFO and the real Roxanne up in there? Because for people that don't know about this real Roxanne thing, because after Roxanne Shantae originally made this response record and it blew up, what had happened and what the movie completely left out is the fact that her record wasn't even the only response record. Her record was not the only response record. After Roxanne Shantae's Revenge, you had, I remember it was one record came out, Roxanne's Parents. It was a record over the Roxanne beat with Roxanne's parents scolding Roxanne. And it was called Roxanne's Parents Revenge or something like that. And it was her parents scolding Roxanne. And then there was another one that came out with Roxanne's grandparents, where they was scolding the parents and Roxanne and talking smack about UTFO. They was getting on everybody. You had one with her aunt. I remember I heard one where her cousin had made a response and all this other stuff. Like, it was like a Roxanne phenomenon. Like, it was like hers was not the only response. Hers was the first, and hers was the most famous response to the Roxanne record, but it was not the only one. And they just skimmed over all that. And the most famous part of all this was after she made that response record and hers made so much money, UTFO was feeling some type of way. UTFO was feeling some type of way and was like, okay, this is fucked up. We had this hit, Roxanne. We didn't even know this was going to be a hit. Ended up being a hit. Cool. We finally about to start making some money. We out there. We got out there. You know, we got our foot in the door. We about to blow up. And here go this girl come up in here, makes a response record to our record, and starts making more money than us off our original idea. So they was feeling some type of way. So what they decided to do, and mind you, this is the Wild Wild West days. It wasn't nothing they really could do about it legally. I mean, legally they probably could have done something about it, but it was so much, you know, it was so much, again, it was the Wild Wild West. People was doing stuff without contracts. Like the Roxanne Shantae never signed a deal. Like at that point in time. Like at that point, she ain't signed no deal. She just went up there. Just, like, it was like, you know, pretty much get in where you fit in. You know, so like that's kind of what it was. But what happened was they was like, you know, like, what we gonna do? Like, you know, she's making all this money. So what they decided to do was find their own female and label her the real Roxanne. You know, because that's another thing. Roxanne Shantae wasn't originally called Roxanne Shantae. She was just called Roxanne. She started calling herself Roxanne Shantae after the real Roxanne came around. Because when they made the real Roxanne, when UTFO made the real Roxanne, who actually was a Spanish Puerto Rican Latina, of course she had to be non-black. Anyways, that's a whole nother topic. But the real Roxanne, non-black woman, you know, this, that, and third, they, you know, got somebody to write some bars for her, and you know, she ended up making her own response, and they labeled that one the official response. Like, they started shitting on Roxanne Shantae's response, saying that one was bootleg. That ain't the real response. This is the real Roxanne. You know, and that's what they called the real Roxanne. And they, made her make the response. You know, it made a little bit of money. It still didn't make as much money as the original response, which was Roxanne Shantae's. Her Roxanne Shantae's record was way bigger, because by the time the real Roxanne came out, honestly, the whole Roxanne thing was kind of dying out. People was kind of getting tired of the whole Roxanne thing by that point. You know, again, by the time you got the Roxanne grandparents making record responses, you didn't really, you was getting a little bit like, okay, this is getting silly now. You know, like, you know, it was like, okay, like, it was cute at first, now it's getting ridiculous. Like, you know, so people was a little bit worn out with the whole Roxanne thing by the time the real Roxanne dropped her response. So people was a little bit done. People didn't really care. You know, it was all confusing, to be honest with you. You got the real Roxanne Shantae's, Roxanne's parents, and all that. It was too much going on. But they completely skipped over all that, family. They completely skipped over all that, and that was disappointing. Because that was a major thing in hip hop lore. And they kind of just brushed over all that. And they didn't touch on her music career nearly enough for me. Nearly enough. I'll get into a little bit more about that in a little bit. Give me 1 second. Let me hook this up so I can get Sister Renee in, because she's sitting back listening. I know she probably want to chime in real quick. Give me 1 second. Mic check. Can y'all still hear me, family? Press 1 if y'all can still hear me, family. Y'all can hear me? Okay, good. All right. Yeah, Sister Renee, you there?
Hey, peace. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Can everybody hear me? I'm not in the chat, so you have to tell. I haven't went in there yet.
Yeah, they can hear you. They should.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah. I'm sorry, Psycho. Psycho knows I'm like a perfectionist. And like, I'm just a perfectionist. I don't know. I just am. But I was also watching the movie, because I hadn't watched the movie till today, just this evening. So I was trying to get that done, because we were doing tonight. I did put a flyer out there. I just put like in a bunch of groups and everything, and on my Facebook. So hopefully some more, and shared it to a lot of people. So hopefully some more people should be coming in. But so we're gonna like discuss the movie in terms of he said, she said kind of thing. We talked about like doing this before, because even though, of course, me and Psycho, we agree like on so many things. You know, we agree on the primary things, on, you know, the deal breaker things, the real things, you know, as far as for our community. But we do disagree on some things, not a whole lot. I mean, we can still usually see each other's side though,
right,
in it. And, you know, just being men and women, you have different views because you have different experiences. You feel me? So we were like talking before about doing like he said, she said, because we did have some. What was the thing before this that we were talking about?
I can't even remember. What it was, something we wanted to touch on that we got to probably still do another show on. I forgot what it was.
Yeah, I can't remember, but it was something. And we were like, man, this would be really bomb to put this out there or do a show like this, because we're both coming from our perspectives as a black man and as a black woman. So with this, I hadn't seen it, but we were talking about this movie before I saw it. And Psycho was telling me, his points and kind of some things he felt about it. But also I saw that of course Tariq Tariq Nasheed did a video talking about the film and like how black women are used excuse me, for certain purposes, against black men, against black society. Which I don't disagree with that either way, but we'll get into that. But and then I know Sister Lashee, I didn't hear the whole thing, but I did hear parts of her. She did I think a response. I think she did a response video or live stream, I think, about some of the things that Tariq said. And we was both on the video commenting on his video. But yeah, anywho, so I saw couple other black men, and they kind of had a feeling of, that black men were, I don't want to misspeak or kind of quote anyone, but almost kind of like there was somewhat of an energy of being anti-black men, or being kind of unfair to black men, or kind of characterizing all black men as like,
I would,
oh
yeah,
I'll let you say.
Yeah, I wouldn't say unfair to black men. Like, I don't like, okay. I definitely feel like after watching this, because earlier I mentioned that I felt like I went into the movie hoping to watch a biopic about an artist who happened to be from the projects. Instead, I got a movie about a girl from the projects who just so happened to be an artist. And from a hip hop historian standpoint, that disappointed me. But the other thing that disappointed me was the fact that I did feel like this movie was pushing the anti-male sentiment.
Okay.
Because now, mind you, there are certain men that was in her life that she had to talk about and she had to touch on.
Right.
The first one would be her father.
Right. But wait. I just want to say this real quick before you go, because I definitely think you should go first, because it's he said, she said. And I think because too, of how you were breaking down to me how you saw it and everything. I mean, how you felt about it. But so we're just giving, like I said, our kind of stances from, different sides, because it's things that we agree upon, and then it's things we may see a little bit differently about it. So, I just didn't want to mischaracterize like anybody. I'm not saying that any black men's reviews I've seen have been like just totally over the top with it, but some people that were speaking out, some did feel like it was kind of that air to it. And like Psycho said, he was saying that he felt it was kind of like anti-black man type of energy to it as well. So we're gonna get into that, and Psycho, go ahead, you have the floor. And yeah, so I wanted, because now that I've seen it, I've got my points and everything, but go right ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, I just want to discuss the things that I felt probably should have been in the movie. Like I was saying, the whole father incident, right? Let me say, like the father was a complete asshole. Actually, he did some real grimy shit. The mother did some real live shit. Actually, her mother did some real live shit, and tried to, help the family out. And, she has somehow or another stacked up 20 G's to try to get them out the projects. And the father took the 20 G's and left and never came back.
Yeah.
and left them stranded there in the projects after he took all their money. Now that in itself is just fucked up. Like, you know, like that's some foul shit. And that's something fucked up that somebody got to grow up and go through. Knowing that they pops move like that. They didn't explain why he did what he did. Like, was it a drug thing? I'm assuming it was a drug thing. They didn't say what happened to the father or nothing. They really didn't mention too much. They a little bit, but not really. They didn't mention what happened to him or none of that really too much. But yeah, he was a complete asshole. That was some grimy shit, because I thought that was real G what the mother did. You know, the mother, you know, he was all stressed out, didn't know what to do, you know, everything else. And she kind of just like, don't worry, I got us. And, you know, she had the money right there. She hit him off. And I thought that was some real G shit. And for him to turn around and do what he did, that just, yeah. So this kind of, but all this right here kind of set the tone of what I felt the narrative and the message that was being pushed. Now, mind you, that I understand being in the movie, that's some fucked up shit that happened in your childhood. That's your father. You're going to explain what happened with your parents. I get it. Then, you know, she got older and she just started meeting. She met this dude who ended up being her baby father. The guy who played Cottonmouth on the Luke Cage series. I forgot this dude's name, but I know he played Cottonmouth in the Luke Cage series. But yeah, he you know, you start seeing him coming around. You know, he starts trying to help her and everything. You know, acting like, you know, he's looking out for, you know, little sister around the neighborhood. This, that, third. It seems pretty innocent at first. You know, that's kind of how most of these things always seem like at first. But at first it seems innocent and everything, and you know, she just she just had a lot of imagery of her having some fucked up shit with dudes like just using her to go steal stuff, and dudes constantly pushing up on older dudes, pushing up on her, which is a problem in our community. That I'm sure we're going to touch on that, but that is a problem in our community. And again, it was what else? You know, her manager stiffed her out of some money, which is actually a music thing. That really was less. That right there had less to do about gender and more to do about the artists of that era was just getting jerked. They all was getting jerked, the guys and the girls. So that had more to do with the industry being grimy opposed to her being a female and black man or whatever. But it just didn't look good because of all the other stuff that was going on. And then you had let's see. Oh, then you had the one instance where, of course, her baby father did some grimy stuff. I'm gonna hold off on that one instance. The baby father did some grimy stuff. You know, he started beating her ass. You know, then you know this idiot turns around and held his own son for ransom. Held his own son for ransom. Like, who does that? Like, who does that? Seriously. Like, what the fuck? I'm watching this and I'm just like, what the fuck am I watching? Like, I couldn't believe that this is what's going on. And she actually paid him. That made it even more crazy. And it's like, so, you know, like that, that was all crazy. Like, and mind you, being that that's her son and her baby father and everything else, I understand that part being in the movie. I understand that part being in the movie. I understand the father part being in the movie. I understand the manager part being in the movie. I get it. Those three things I felt like was essential to the movie. Then you had some things that wasn't necessarily essential to the storyline that started to feel like piling on and started to make you even kind of question, well, is there any positive black men in this movie? Like, is all these motherfuckers fucked up? Like, because you had this one scene where this dude was looking out for a while, gave her a spot to stay, everything else is that and the third. And and then this is the weirdest scene in the movie. He just starts staring at her all of a sudden, and he seemed like he's drunk or high or something. And then he just goes in the kitchen, and he's just sitting, and he's just standing in the kitchen. It's the oddest scene, I'm telling you. It's eerie. And he's just in the kitchen for like 2 minutes, just standing there, not saying nothing. And they got and then he just sits down, starts sniffing something, apparently coke. And then the motherfucker just got up and was like, "Hey, why you dressing like that?" And you got the guys looking at you and all this other stuff. And she's like, "I always dress like this and everything." And he just started grabbing on her and threw her down on the couch and threw up his fist like he was gonna punch her and rape her. But he didn't. Nothing happened. And then he got up and he went to walk away, and she was like, "No, I'll do it. You can't." No, he kicked her out. That's what it was. He got up and was like, "You gotta go." And she was like, "No, I'll do it. I don't got nowhere to go. I got to stay here and everything else." And he was like, "Nah, you got to go." And I didn't understand the purpose of that scene. See, this is the scene right here that I felt was piling on, because later on in the movie, they showed this dude, the same dude, she went to this same dude to pay off the ransom to her baby father to help get her son out. So it was real, like, I just didn't understand the purpose of that scene. I also don't understand why they grazed over the fact that she was in group homes for a large period of her childhood. They never mentioned that. They just skimmed all over that. I would like to know what period that happened when that whole scene happened that I'm wondering why it was even in the movie. Because again, she didn't get raped. It was a situation that almost got out of control, that didn't get out of control, and he told she had to leave. Now it just seemed like they put that scene in there just to further push a message that this whole, negative black male vibe that was all in the movie. Again, it wasn't hardly nothing about her music. It was all about how black men did her dirty. And that's what I walked away feeling after watching this movie. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to say that the stuff that she said happened didn't happen. I don't know. I'm assuming that it is. I'm going to take her at her word until I hear otherwise. I do know some facts about her life that she did leave out, and I'm wondering why she left that out and decided to focus so much on these men. Because I think it would have been a nice contrast if she could have actually showed some positive dudes up in her life. Like, I'm not buying that it was all negative dudes throughout the entirety of her life. I mean, she's married now, for Christ's sake. So she can't run that game that is all the men in her life is crap. Like that's just not true. She just chose to show all the ugly things that men did to her in the past. And when you cherry pick all the bad things that a group of individuals did to you in the past and jam it up in a movie, you're going to make that whole group of individuals look horrible. And it's like you ain't show anything. It was one positive dude. Now, it was one positive dude. Actually, it was three. Two of them was young heads, so they don't count. It was one positive adult, and it was the one dude that tried to keep all them grown dudes off of her, and we used to ride, and was pretty much her bodyguard at first until he got locked up. He was only in the movie for like 5 minutes, and then he got locked up. So even he looked bad at the end of the day. Like, like the one good guy is in jail. So it's like, where is it? Like, this is like, come on, like seriously, like, and then what the further solidified that it was a hidden message behind this movie was the last statement she made at the very end of the movie, when they finally showed her the real Roxanne Shantae, and he had a little clip of her talking, and she was just like, black men got to do this, and black men got to do that, and black men, which further solidified this movie was all about black men. and really nothing to do about her music. And that was a letdown to me. I'll let Renee go because I know she wants to respond.
All right. All right. All right. Well, first I'll say in terms of just like the movie in general, whatever, I thought it was cool. I thought it was an okay film. I mean, I wouldn't say that it was bad or anything like that. In terms of the overall quality and things of that nature, it was okay. It was an okay movie to watch. Um, my thing is, and that's what I was trying to find out or find. Um, because I was trying to find a description because the thing is, I don't know if the film was supposed to be about her music career or if it was about that, but about her life in general. And so, the film Roxanne, and I know on the like picture or whatever for the movie, it's her or the girl who's playing her, which did an amazing job. She did an amazing job, and that girl,
she did.
yeah, and this is her first film. She's never acted in any movies or anything before.
Yeah, she did a real good job.
And I'm like,
I won't question the acting. The acting was good.
homegirl was bomb, so I give it up to this young sister.
Mm-hmm.
But so they did really good casting in terms of that. Plus, when you look at the young Roxanne Shantae, she looks like her. They did a pretty good job with that. The thing about it, and from what I understand, the sister too, she comes from a good family, a mother and father, black parents, good family, and this is her first thing that she's doing. So I definitely support her, and I hope to see her in a lot more things to come. I hope her career really does well for her if that's what she wants to do. But anywho, so I feel like the film, like hip hop was an element of the film, but it wasn't the centerpiece of the film. I feel like the centerpiece of the film was just her story as how she came to be Roxanne Shantae. And so in terms of not just with the hip hop elements, but also her experiences within all of that, that kind of made her who she came to be, or, what it took for her to go through all of that. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I don't understand that all content has intent. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I don't understand that there is always a bigger agenda, at hand, and that there are certain elements, certain things that, they want to push out there about Black people. Like something can't ever be too, it's got to always have some kind of underlining something in there. So I'm not going to pretend like I don't know that, because that's the reality. What I will say though is I don't, after watching the film, just to speak honestly off the cuff, like I don't feel that it was an attack on Black men. However, two things. I'm not a Black man. That's number one. And number two, although I don't feel like it was, I can understand how some people may feel it was. I can understand how some people may see it was. So I'm not oblivious to that. The reason why I feel like it wasn't is because, with the things that happened in her life, I honestly don't feel like with the story, it was really going way far out of the way to make these Black men look bad. To me, it more so looked like this was just the path that things took. And with her being so young, I mean, when you get to the part where the mama meets the dude, she's 16. So this was a super young girl. And so when you dealing in a world like that with money, drugs, music, all of that, these are people who way above your head in terms of age, in terms of knowledge and understanding what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And understanding, you know, the ability to manipulate. So because of those things, like because she was so young, like let me give you more so what I mean. If she was a grown lady, let's say we'll say she was at least 21, okay? We'll say she was 21, 25, whatever, and so on and so forth. And she started getting in this industry and different things was going on. I could then say, well, yeah, she was grown, or yeah, she could have knew better, or yeah, she could have such and such. But because she was so young, she was in a position of being vulnerable, of being fragile,
Hmm.
of being immature, of being uneducated, of being ignorant. And so that allowed for those people who were, a lot of them were black males to take, because I don't say black men who do stuff like that. Those are black males who took advantage of her or did certain things. So I have to take her age into account with the storyline. And that's why I wouldn't err as heavily on saying that this was just an attack on black men. Because had she been a grown woman, then you got to say, hey, girlfriend, you got to take a level of accountability. And not to say that that means she has zero or the mom has none or her parents have none. But it's also to say all of us have been 16. All of us think we knew everything. And you knew nothing. We still don't know. We still learning to this day. But just think in terms of being 16, like I can't even fathom
Yeah.
some of those experiences. So think
Actually,
of it,
yeah,
you know what I mean? So,
actually, she was 14 when she first came out.
right,
Right.
right. That's what I'm saying. By the time when the mom actually, when that scene where they was talking and she said she's 16, and that was way
That was,
more
I
toward
think,
toward
yeah,
the end
she
of
was
the
16,
movie.
I think, when she had a baby. I think that's when she was 16 when she had the kid.
Yeah.
Right.
So by that time, you know what I'm saying? She had, yeah. So like you said, 14 years old. So that's one of the real reasons why I can't say I feel like this was just an attack on black men, because she was so young that she was just in a position for people to prey on her. And I don't feel like there's something that was exclusive, that this is a black man thing. This was just some no good Negroes thing that happened in that time and with this young girl. But again, I'm not so stuck in that I can't see that some brothers may feel that way. But you got to take into account her age. You can't you can't let that go. Because I'm not gonna say a grown woman, oh, you don't have, oh, all of these men did all this stuff to you and you have no accountability as a grown woman. I'm not gonna ever say that about
I
any
never. Yeah, I would.
grown woman with a sound mind. But
Yeah, I would.
about a 14, 15, 16-year-old girl, I can't say that about her because she is still a child. Um, the
I
thing
agree.
too about it is like with her dad, man, that was crushing. Like you so right, Psycho. That was so crushing. That was crushing, 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 man.
Mm-hmm.
With what he did, and the mama saved the money. He took the money and he bounced. And
That
then
was
when he
grimy.
had them sitting out there waiting,
That was grimy. That I wanted to punch him in his face. Like I really wanted to. Like, yeah, that was grimy. That was.
that basically put a tear in my eye because you can feel the disappointment. You know what I mean? And although I have not experienced that in that capacity, I can empathize and understand, like, wow, you know what I'm saying? You got these little girls, you young, you happy. Oh, my daddy's coming to get me. Y'all got on y'all little dresses. Y'all done got all together. And you waiting on him and he never show up. And he
Mm-hmm.
never shows up. and he don't call, he don't do anything else. He don't come. And that was like, man, that was a really sad. I mean, aside from him taking the money and they thought they was moving, they packed up and you know what I mean? So I can see, and he was a dirtbag, like for sure. He was a real dirtbag. And I don't know, perhaps he was on drugs and things, but and I feel like probably that's what it was. Because what person would take $20,000 and never come back? Like, you can't live forever on that. But if you on drugs, you can go buy a bunch of drugs and get high. You feel me? And then stay in whatever mindset you in and move somewhere else for the time being and do something different. And perhaps the shame of all that is so bad, you're not going to go back to, and well, he did. Well, he supposedly, I guess, was calling or whatever. But he still didn't never come back. They never showed him come back.
It was his shorty and 4 of his little girls. His shorty and 4 of his little girls. He took $20,000 from their mouth.
Yeah.
Like that is like I said, like these guys couldn't have been bigger assholes in this fucking movie. Like she literally took the worst of the worst and put them all in this one movie. And people, like I said, I walked away from this movie looking at motherfuckers fucked up. So if I'm a dude and I walked away from this looking at them fucked up, I already know that how women are going to walk away from this movie feeling about dudes. It's like it's almost impossible not for them not to feel some type of way, because that's all you saw was negativity in these dudes. Like and like I said, the worst of the worst. This isn't like okay. This wasn't like they had one dude that was just an asshole throughout the course of the movie. No, it was like all of them, like everybody, like what the fuck?
But the thing is, like, I feel like even though her dad was a dirtbag, I kind of still feel like she was trying to still portray something positive about him. And the reason I say that is because the part where, before that takes place, but when her mom wouldn't let her in and he came and let her in the house, and, he kind of, pat her on the shoulder or whatever, and he let her in. And just also, I feel like maybe if it was a drug thing, and her not really saying that or expounding on that, maybe that was another way too of saying, hey, I have to acknowledge what you did do. So you did take this money. That was a substantial thing happening in their childhood, because that could have enabled them to move out of the projects. Mm-hmm. I have to acknowledge that. I have to acknowledge the disappointment you caused me and my sisters when you said you was coming and you didn't come. But maybe she didn't want to go further into feeling like she was bashing her father. If she would have put out there, maybe he was on drugs or whatever like that.
Yeah, I understood. So she put her father in the movie. I totally got why she had to put her father in the movie. I get it.
Yeah, so I feel like even though, and like her showing that other side of him, I feel like that was, still a way of trying to give him some type of, before we know the real bad stuff, some type of positive attribute. And he was in the home, he was there, this, that, and the other. Now, like the whole thing with her getting like jerked around with the music and the money and stuff like that was dirty. And as you said, that happened to across the board, to many, many musicians. That was real foul though. With the Marley Marl, and they was getting they got their money, and then when it come to her, my bags got taken. All
those artists got horror stories similar to that. All of them, like they all done shows for free, not getting paid, getting jerked, getting gypped like that. They all have those same horror stories.
But you know what? It's no question to me though. It's no question to me, just to keep it a buck, that with her being as young as she was and a girl,
made it easier. It made it easier.
And it was a little more leverage. Like, what's she gonna do?
Yeah, now that I agree with. It made it easier for them to do it, but it didn't just happen to her, but it did make it easier.
Right.
But I agree with that. I absolutely
And
agree.
so again, like even with what you were saying that, like you said, and that was more of a music thing. So that's another part where I didn't see that that was necessarily saying black men did all of these things. That is a common music thing that does happen. Um, then like with the boyfriend or whatever, or the baby. Now, this is what I do want to address because we was kind of talking about this morning or last whatever this morning, and that was with this. Well, okay, with her being so young, and you remember at the beginning of the movie, the baby daddy was around because he wanted her to watch his son for a few minutes. Blah blah blah
Yeah,
blah. And of course,
that
he's
was
older.
the baby father. Yeah,
Right, and it he ended up becoming her, and she was a little girl and all of that.
right.
And so you introduced to him kind of early on as a shady character. You feel
Mm,
me? Because he comes in the picture on some, oh, I gotta get this, his beeper or whatever going off. So you kind of already know what he's on. You know what
right,
I'm saying? You know he's selling drugs or whatever the case may be. He's thugging it up. He a gangster, whatever. And here he got his son, and he gonna leave him with this girl. Yeah, y'all watch him. I'll be back. So you know what it is. Now with him, like this is an issue in the black community. I know it's issues in every race. Okay, it's issues. This is an issue in every race, but I don't give a damn about them. So I want to talk about this point and Psycho mentioned that I probably wanted to address this because this is something I have experienced and that like all my friends, sisters, everybody that I know have experienced in one capacity or another multiple times. And that is with being very young girls and excuse my French, grown ass men trying to holler at you, trying to get with you, trying to woo you, trying to do all of these fantastical things. Okay. Many of them know damn well some of them got daughters your age or close to your age. Yes, girls, especially nowadays, are developing very, very fast. Like, absolutely, you know, when I was coming up, we were developing fast as well. However, there's no way you can tell me that you don't know a 14-year-old girl. You don't know a 13-year-old girl. You can't tell me that because in the face, it's still a young face. It's still a baby face. Plus typically the way they dress or something is going to be more associated with young girls and not a grown woman. Plus, the way they carry themselves is going to be different. Plus, the way they talk is going to be different. When they start opening their mouth about different things going on, it's not going to sound like an adult woman who's your age. This ain't no woman that's show age. So when you got 25-year-old men, 30-year-old men, 35-year-old men, and honey, yes, many above that who do this. You know damn well that girl ain't no 25, no 30, or none of that. You know that. And so even if you want to say, oh, I thought she was 18, man, cut the crap. This girl's probably in school. Or what does she have going? Does she have her own car, her own place? Does she have all of these other things in place that you would consider from a grown woman? How is she able to talk to you and relate to you? Do you come over to her house? Do you spend time with her? Do you know the whole situation going on in her life to know, oh yeah, that's a grown woman? So don't feed me the bull on that. Because some people will say, well, these girls, they develop so early. Or they say, oh, the girls lie and pretend they such and such. And I'm not saying those those things aren't true. Yeah, those things absolutely have truth to them. However, let's keep it funky. It's way more to the story, and it's way more things that you use to measure on whether you're going to talk to a person, deal with a person, engage with a person or not. And you know it. And what it is with a younger girl, she has not experienced the same things that a grown woman has. And what's so interesting about that is in the film, the part where the mama is meeting the baby, this old ass baby daddy by this time, he says to her, "Oh, you're bitter. You don't want her to be happy so she can be like you and this and stuff." And see, that's a bunch of BS rhetoric. The truth is, you want to make her bitter because you want to get over on this little young girl being, at that time she was 16, but she had already been with him and all of that, you know. So she's sitting up here 16. You trying to make her bitter because you got your old ass and all of your problems. You already got children. You already out here a drug dealer and you sniffing coke and you doing all this stuff, and you want to put that and dump that on a 16-year-old girl. So you're the one who wants to make her bitter, like you say her mother is. Her mother wants her to be a young girl and to not be wrapped up with no nigga that's way too old for her, who know the game, is gonna play the game on her. Then that's how you get a lot of young girls who end up being way too advanced in terms of sex, having children and all that stuff, and they still not there psychologically because it's been rushed into so much and they didn't have time to grow into being a woman. They were rushed into womanhood. And that can happen by a lack of mothers not doing their roles. That can happen by fathers maybe not doing their role or in the picture. That can happen by grown ass men preying on young girls. All of that stuff can happen to help take a girl from, instead of growing into her womanhood, rushing her into womanhood. And so this is the type of thing that goes on in the community all the time. And the problem is, and this is something that breaks my heart so much, is because, and this is black girls and black boys both, black children are not allowed to be children. They don't have the same type of carefree existence and experience that you can look at sometimes. And I know everybody else's situation ain't perfect. I'm not saying that. But sometimes that you can see with other groups, especially most namely because of the condition and situation that we're in this country. White children are not pushed. They're not rushed into adulthood. They're able to be kids and play and do this and that in general. But because in the black community, we've had to scrape and scrap for every damn thing we got. Everybody had to work. Everybody had to get up. Everybody had to do something, whatever. It wasn't no excuses. Then your mama, she got to work. She got to do this and that. So you, the older girl, you got to take care of all them kids. You got to make sure they eat. Their clothes is washed. They take a bath. They get up and go to school. They do their homework or whatever. You got all these responsibilities laid out. And you can see in the film that she had to do that. I think she did have one older sister. But you see her having to do that for her sisters. You see her having to make sure a lot of stuff because, again, the mom was working and everything else going on. So it's like, and then being in the hood on top of that, you got to make sure, hey, you know, my little sisters, they protected. Y'all don't talk to nobody. You know, y'all stay together. Y'all hold hands. Y'all do this. Y'all do that. You know, make sure you know, looking over your shoulder. These are the type of things that black girls, like I said, black children in general, but in dealing with this situation, these are the things that black girls have to experience so young. Then people turn around, oh, she's fast and she's this and she's that. Well, damn, you don't let a little black girl be a girl. What the hell do you think? You don't let her do fun little things and just be immature. My mama used to always say that you will be grown one day. And my grandmother, we used to laugh at her. My mom's mother, we used to laugh at her all the time because she would have like we would spend the night over there, of course, all the time. And she would have like all of these things. Like I think she used to sell, yeah, she used to sell Avon. So she had all of these Avon, you know, like lipsticks and you know all the little stuff, nail polish and all of this kind of stuff. And so when we were really little, we would be over there trying to put it on and try, and she would have a heart, like she would be so mad. Like, no, 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 no. She's like, y'all too young. She was like, you don't need to be rushed into doing any of that. She's like, you got plenty of time. You will get there. And we used to laugh. We used to kind of be mad, but we would laugh like, what? Ha ha ha. Because we see other girls or other people doing stuff. So it's like, well, why can't we do it? Well, why can't we, you know, put on this lipstick and put on this makeup and all that? But she was so right. Of course, you know, so many of our elders, they're wise because they've experienced it. But my grandmother was so right. Like, you got plenty of time for that. But like I said, in our community, that's just not the case. Our girls are not getting that ability to just be young. So this movie, it hit on so many levels to me, on so many different topics and realities in the community. And just to go back real quick before I pass the mic to the grown man thing, you know, like I said, and I'm not trying to say that just the people I know and my experiences that means everything. No, but I think this is a real thing. Like where, because like I said, I can remember being like 13, 14. I think we was 13, and me and my best friend, this was like our first time really getting a chance to like ride the bus to the mall and to the movie or whatever. Well, to the mall to go to the movie. You know, by ourselves or whatever, not with no, you know, parents dropping us off or anything like that. And so we went, and you know, we thought we was cute and stuff. We was cute, you know, we had on our little jumpers and stuff that was popping at that time and different things. And we thought it was cute too to be like, oh, we're 16. What did we say? No, we said we was 15. If somebody asked, you know, we wasn't gonna say we 13. Well, we 15, you know, and anywho, so but clearly anybody could look at us and be like, okay, those are some really young girls. Those are some really young girls. Like them ain't no damn grown women, okay?
Right.
Anywho, it was so many. This just sticks out in my mind. This particular time, I could just see it. It just sticks in my mind. And these, you know, these different guys, older guys, like I said, they was at least 24, 25. And or you know, and older. And was like, hey, you know, what's up? And this and that. Because let me say this though real quick. How is it that the young boys though, who are your age, how come those young boys know that we they age?
Right.
How come they know we're they age, but a grown ass man, he can't tell that we not his age or that we not this young? Okay. Anywho, because you know we seen boys and different stuff, you know, that we knew or went to school with or whatever. Anyway, but like it was some grown dudes, and I can remember was this dude, and he was like, then he had his homeboy or whatever, and he gonna come up to us, talk about, yeah, y'all trying to be in videos. Like what? Looking back at that, I'm like, and we were really believing this is how gullible. Now, people can say, well, you gotta raise your children. That ain't everything, okay? That ain't everything. Because I was taught all about these things from my daddy, who would be like, nah, these niggas, you don't this, and that. From my mother and my best friend, her parents were hella strict and hella told her, like, you don't talk to nobody, you don't do this, that, and the other. And her mama and daddy was in the home. So it wasn't no thing of we was just wilding and this and that. No. Okay. And I was like a super good student. Like I was an excellent student. She was like, Yeah. She was very smart, but she was just, kind of like, whatever. But anywho, um, and this dude was like, yeah, y'all want to be in videos and this and that. And we really sitting there like, yeah, well, what kind? And we kind of knew that, we were still kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever. But we was like, yeah, what video? So why did this dude give us his card and all this stuff? And like, yeah, I do such and such video for these artists, and I do blase this and that, and you know, and y'all could do this and that. It was so many different characters, if you will,
Right.
that we came across on that day. It was just interesting. And then it's like, oh, we could you want to go eat? We could take y'all to eat. Oh, you want to go in this store? Oh, you want to do this or that? And it's like, y'all know we are not grown women. You know that. Then when they get caught up, just like on that damn show, the show where they were setting up the dudes who was hooking up with these young teenagers online, and then they, I didn't know. She told me, yes, you came after her because she said she was that young.
Yeah.
That's why you was trying to holler. Like, stop it. You didn't know that's what you wanted. That's what you wanted, is for them to be young. And so that's what a lot of these dudes want. And they want to be the one, I'm just be honest. They want to be the one to ruin you. They want to feel like, oh, maybe she's a virgin. Okay, let's keep it funky.
Some of
Let's
it,
funky.
some of it is that, and some of it is also a lot of these dudes never grew up. So in their minds, they're still 19, 18 years old in their minds. So they kind of like so that's what they like. So they still attracted to the same thing they was attracted to when they was in 1918, which is 1918 or 17 or 16. You feel what I'm saying? Like whatever age, like their minds are still trapped there. So that's what they're attracted to. That's why it don't matter how old they get, they still attracted to that same age bracket because they minds is trapped. Like they minds never advanced to that level. So like it's sickening when you think about it, but it's actually it's some kind of mental disorder. They need help.
It's just crazy because they want to be mature on everything else.
Right.
They want to be grown on everything else they got going on. They got popping. They want to be grown and tell all these lies to these young girls. But
certain things, but because a lot of these same dudes that you talk about is really immature in a lot of areas. A lot of these dudes that you refer to.
Well, whatever the case, and no, I'm not saying they're not immature, but whatever the case, they know damn well that these girls be 13, 14, 15 years old.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like I said, young boys who are that same age can identify girls who are in their age group. You can't tell me as a grown man who's lived longer and had more experiences on this planet that you don't know that.
Well, I will say this. That you can find some young girls who can pass for maybe 18, 19 or something like that. I've seen that happen. Now, I've also seen some silly Negroes mess around and get themselves in some trouble. I see the girl that they done got themselves in trouble with, and I'll sit there and look at them like, bruh, ain't no way in hell you gonna tell me you didn't know that girl wasn't something like 14, 15 years old. Like ain't no way in hell you gonna tell me, like, stop it. Like, there's no way you're gonna tell me that. Like,
I agree with you, especially in this day and age. You know that girls can do stuff like makeup and they can do different things to look older. But it's the whole energy that comes with that. It's a whole energy and vibe that comes with age that you can't pretend. That's just how I feel about it. And when I see, like, my oldest niece is about to be 14, seeing her and all her classmates, the other black girls, there's no way. And I know that's just those girls. Like, I know it's girls out here who are in totally different circumstances. You feel me? But like, a lot of time it is just on some real sick, freak, pedophile type stuff. And they see that as easy prey. They see it as an easy opportunity, and they want to see what's good with it. And then if they get caught up, they feel like they can always lie and say, "Oh, I didn't know. Oh, she lied to me. Oh, I thought this, that, and the other." They can always come up with something like that. And the nature of our community when it comes to certain things Black women experience, like certain levels of abuse, the nature of our community, a lot of times, not in all cases, but it's to always kind of put some blame back on the girl, and that the man who did whatever, he kind of gets off with a tap on the wrist, if you will, from the community, if at all. If at all. Because you have the whole dynamic of, like I said, when they'll say, "Oh, she was fast." That has been used as an excuse by hella Black mothers, for sure, and Black women who chose to be in denial about their young daughters being raped and molested by their boyfriend or their men or somebody in the family or whatever. And some of them have used that thing of she's fast.
Right.
Like that's supposed to make it cool, and that makes it okay for her to be she's fast. What does that mean? What she can be fast as she want to be. What makes a grown man take his body part and do that with her?
Yeah.
If she's fast or not.
Both things are wrong, but the adult is always to blame in that situation. And that's like the adult is held to a higher regard in that situation. Like kind of like same argument I make about police killing somebody opposed to a civilian killing somebody. It's different because the police is held at a higher standard. It's the same situation. The adult is held at a higher standard. They're the ones who know better. They're the ones who understand the consequences. They're the ones who understand that this is just a crush thing. You're supposed to be more mature than that. So that it falls more on them opposed to the younger but the younger kid still has to stop being fast, because if it ain't this dude, it'll be another dude. It'll be, even if it's some young dudes, she shouldn't be running around with young dudes either. Like so you know. But again, so that situation what you're talking about, the guy is definitely more or the female, if that's the case, is definitely more to blame.
I mean, honestly, I can't blame any child that's molested. I can't blame any child that's. I mean, and let me not say any, because I don't like speaking absolute. But it would have to be some really, 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 really extenuating circumstances behind it.
Yeah, I mean,
it would just have to be. It would just have to be, because for boy or girl, I don't give a damn. If it's a woman, I don't give a damn.
The thing is, most girls, now what we talk about right here is statutory rape. That's what we were talking about right here. And it's in the cases of statutory rape, the reason why I said that, you know, we like I just said, what you call it, about the fast girl thing and everything else, that whole perception, and it's true. The adult is the mostly to blame. But my whole thing is, if they're fast, they'll still do the same thing with somebody their own age. And I'm saying, like, they shouldn't be, at a certain age, you shouldn't be thinking about having sex at all, to be honest with you.
That's not okay. But that's not a,
because these same girls that are committing, that are getting caught up with statutory rape, is also willing to do it with people their own age.
But
so and I'm saying, like, now mind you, the people with their own age thing isn't illegal. Now that's why I'm like this. But I'm saying,
that's why I'm saying. That's why I feel like you can't put those two things in the same category.
That's why I'm being very careful with my words and making sure I'm saying that I'm not putting this on the same level as the adult being in the wrong. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I just don't want to leave this part out, because, you know, like, we also have to, everything's too sexual with our kids nowadays. Like, we got to get them off that. Like, whether regardless, like because again, if it isn't the older one, it'll be somebody their own age, and then the one their own age, I don't really want them having sex with them. I don't really want them having sex with them either. Now it's not illegal, but that don't mean I necessarily want to see my daughter having sex with a 16, 17-year-old boyfriend or whatever. That's just me speaking from a father's aspect.
But when you say if it wasn't an adult, it would be somebody their own age.
Yeah. The ones who are dealing with older men. I'm talking about the girls who are dealing with older men, yeah. From my past experiences. But that's what I'm saying. Those two things are still not the same thing. So you can't.
No, they're not.
One is illegal and one isn't. But I'm speaking on a moral perspective. Like again, from a father's perspective. Now, mind you, I would go out there and kill that dude, that 30-something-year-old dude, for having sex with my 14, 15, 16-year-old daughter. Right? Like I'll kill him. The 16, 17-year-old kid, I'm gonna want to do something to him, but I'm definitely gonna have a talk with him. But I'm not gonna kill him. You understand? Like, so it's levels to this, but I'm not happy with either one. You understand what I'm saying? But it is levels to it. So that's why I'm saying, like, because again, I wouldn't, just speaking from a father's perspective, I just don't want to see my daughter having sex until she's older. Like, I don't want her in high school, like, having sex, period. If you understand what I'm saying. Again, I'm talking about the statutory.
I understand what you're saying.
I'm talking about the statutory rape. I'm not talking about somebody forcing themselves on them. Like, I'm not, like, again, we're talking about the statutory rape, the girls that, the young girls that mess around with older guys. And this is the scenario that we're talking about. So I just want to make sure we putting everything in its proper perspective.
I understand. I mean, I don't know. I guess because I'm just passionate about this because it's something that I do feel like is such a major issue, in that so often it becomes about the girl and not about the adult male doing what he did. And I can understand that girls can be seen.
Yeah, I'm not
right.
He needs to get thrown under the jail. Like, he needs to get thrown under the jail. Like, I have no issues with that.
I mean, I can understand girls can be seen as fast or whatever, but I only label that in terms of their dealings with, I'll put it like this. Okay, let me say it like this. If it's a girl and she is doing things, let's say it's a grown man, and it's girls who do this, and they're like, to a grown man. Even remember in the movie with the dude who became the baby daddy, the older dude, when she first came around him, remember she said, oh, he's so, she seen his son. She said, oh, he's so cute, just like his daddy.
Mm. So
she was, I don't know, at that time, maybe she was supposed to be 12 or 13. And she was flirting with this grown man that had a son at that time. So I can definitely see, in terms of that, calling that fast. And, what are you doing talking to a grown man like that? All of that. I just mean, like, in terms of, like, when it goes to an actual
I've had to turn away some young girls who tried to come on to me, and I've had to turn them away. Let them know that I'm not that guy. But I could tell that they've been with older guys before or whatever, because the way, like, cause they was bold enough to approach me.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And I could tell, like, you could tell it wasn't their first time, nothing like that. Like, cause it's like, and I had to turn, like, whoa, like, you too young for me, like, because I don't move like that. But if I was the type of dude that moved like that, it would have happened right there. And this happened more than one occasion with more than one different girl. So, like, it could have happened, but again, and that's because they was coming on to me, and these are the girls that I'm talking about, the fast ones, the ones that, like, again, I'm assuming they wasn't virgins, and I'm assuming that if it wasn't, I wasn't around, it'd have been somebody else, regardless of age. Like these girls was just fast. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, I did, like, that's what I'm talking about. These type of females that are with that you know, that are actually aggressively trying to find them an older guy. You know, like, they exist.
Right. I mean, I can understand. I mean, yeah, yeah. No, I'm not in denial that girls can be very fast and how they say things and trying to come on to men and stuff like that. I just always err back on the side of, at the end of the day, as a grown person, you have the responsibility. Because if the situation goes down,
like, that
you
was
get
on me to turn her. Like, that was on me to turn those girls down. Exactly. Like, that was my responsibility, and that's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Because truth be told, if it does go down, and you know it all comes out, you gonna be the one in jail.
Yeah.
Or on the damn sex offender list. You feel me? For the rest of your life. Not you. You know, I mean, whoever's in.
Whoever decides. Yeah, I give
whoever decides to do stuff like that. Yeah.
I will fall under Megan's law. Exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's so crazy out here. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like the way, like, all of this stuff is, and the young dudes. And see, I feel the same way. Like, you got so many of these teachers who was trying to screw their male students. It's off the hinges, okay? And see, they do that on purpose because they feel like, you know, some of these women have gone through whatever issues with grown men or whatever. And a lot of them feel like they can manipulate a young boy. They know they can. They know they feel they can get, you know what I'm saying? They can get over on him. They can manipulate him. They can get him sucked into their web to do what they want him to do, and all of these things because they have experience in years. They have knowledge in years over him. So they can do this, whoom, whoom, wham. He ain't really had certain things, you know, sexually to a degree. You know, some boys do things, but you know, boys tend to mature slower than girls, and a lot of times boys will say they might have done certain things, but they, you know what I mean. So she know, okay, well, if I do such and such and such, you feel me? I know I can get him open, and I can do what I want with him and manipulate him and use him. And so it's so many of these women out here that do that. You know, they take advantage of that position, and it's sick. And they need to get the same treatment as men get. They need to be on the sex offender list. Okay? You don't need to be around nobody's children. Period.
I agree.
Because you violated that. And just because boys, you know, because of the genitalia, you know, how it is between males and females, people feel like, oh, well, a boy can't be forced. How come he can't? Because the whole basis is you are a grown-ass woman and you are helping manipulate him into these things. Even if he feel like this is something he want to do, it's not right to do. He don't have the mental capacity to be dealing with no grown-ass woman in this type of sexual way. And then what you're going to do is you're going to bring him into all of that. Then you're going to be looking at him like he's a grown man in terms of what he needs to be doing for you and how he needs to. And he's a kid. He's going to be growing, learning, going through different things. He's not going to want to be dealing with no damn old woman who sat up and manipulated him sexually. And he's going to end up resenting you because it's such a scene, it's such a difference. Because, oh, well, a woman can't rape a man. I disagree. I disagree. In that fashion, even if he's down with it, it's the same thing with the girl. The weight is on the adult. Period.
Yeah.
It's on the adult. Period. This is why when people are in prison, it's seen as rape when the correctional officers engage sexually with the prisoners. The reason it's seen as rape, no matter how consensual, quote unquote, consensual it is, no matter how much the inmate or whatever comes on to the officer, no matter what they do, it's seen as rape. And that is because the the officer is in the position of power in that dynamic. They are the one who is the authority in that situation. So who's to say that they still couldn't intimidate, manipulate, force someone to do something? Or who's to say that if things didn't work out or things whatever, that they couldn't wrongfully punish this person, put other restrictions on them, harm them, whatever the case may be. So it's seen as rape in prison, regardless of how consensual um, it's supposed to have been between the officer and the inmate. So it's the same type of scenario. You have someone who is the authority figure, who is the adult, and you have someone who is not that, who is in a subordinate position. So I see it as rape, straight up.
Yeah.
But I know we kind of went on a tangent because I mean, like, it's so many elements. But I want to ask Psycho this to kind of get back to what we were saying.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with you feeling like it was an anti-black male energy to it, or certain elements or whatever having a black or anti-black male energy to it.
Mm-hmm.
The question I had asked you was, what is the appropriate way? And I'm not asking you to speak for all black men, because I am also including in me saying this, like I said, Tariq, and it was some other black men who I saw was kind of like feeling like it was kind of attacking black men too.
Right.
And then like with
I think Umar Johnson said the same thing.
yeah, I think so as well, because I didn't watch his full thing, but yeah, he was on that same wavelength.
Mm-hmm.
So then my question would be, what is the appropriate or proper way for black women to address some of the sexual abuses or other abuses they may have endured by black men in their life coming up as girls, or have you, or even beyond that, but for sure as young women and young girls? What's the appropriate way to address that?
Being that this was a true story, right? Again, this is tricky. It's tricky because this isn't fictional. It's supposed to be based on true stories. So these are supposed to be true life events that happened in her life. Now, again, I gotta do some research later. You gotta wait after these things always drop. You gotta wait later to find out what actually happened and what was a little bit blown up just for movie purposes, because most biopics have this, like they skew a couple of things here and there just to kind of fit in. They did a little bit of it in the New Edition story. They definitely did it. What's Love Got to Do with It has done it. What other ones done it? Straight Outta Compton did a little bit of it. They twist a little, like they'll take a little bit of the story and just twist a little part of it, this, that, and the third, whatever. So, but for right now, I'm gonna take it on his face and say all of it is went down the way she said it went down, right? I understand that they were 3 negative guys in the movie that I think should have been in the movie, which were the father, the manager, and the baby father. Those 3 should have been in the movie. All being that you had these 3 shady dudes in the movie, I think she should have at least attempted, or the writers or the producers, whoever had control of this, should at least attempted to have a positive black dude, at least one positive black dude in there for more than 5 minutes of the movie. I mean, you got other dudes that like, again, the dude with the whole scene that bugged me and everything else. Ultimately, he ended up being the guy who gave her the money, told her she didn't even have to pay him back, gave it to 10 G's, gave it 10 racks to get her son back, by the way, to get her son back, and said you ain't have to pay you back nothing. But at the end of the day, he's not going to be looked at as somebody who did her, shot her, it's going to be looked at, he's still looked at as messed up because of that scene.
But maybe that's her showing. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's like,
but people have dimensions to them. Nobody is all good or bad. You feel me? So
right. I got you there. I got you there as well. It is that third. I just felt like it would have been a good contrast, because again, I doubt very seriously if all these dudes in her life was bad. She just chose to focus on the bad. And when all you did was focus on the bad, it comes across like we're all this way. Or we all, like, it pushes narratives, and it gives the perception. And like again, these finger pointers are going to eat this movie up. They're going to use this. They're going to cite this movie as sources. The further spread the anti-male message. Because again, this is gold for them. This is gold for the finger pointers. This. Go ahead.
But is it about, okay? Well, you was like, okay, when you was like, these particular people didn't need to be in the movie, but according to what? Because it's her movie about her life. And if she felt like those were critical elements, like with the guy who you were saying, the one who he let her move in and all that, and he was seen as a good character, and then he act like he was gonna do something to her, or he didn't know, and he stopped, but he did stop. So she did show, okay, well, whatever, maybe he was on drugs at that time. That maybe it was a real situation where somebody who had helped.
I'm not questioning whether it happened.
He was on drugs, but he caught himself, and with that, he put her out. Thus, she's back on the street, and she's going back home to her mama. Those could have been integral, which to me in the movie is seen integral parts that were different pathways in the story. Because what if she had not went back home and she stayed there? Then what would have been different? XYZ.
And this is the part that's a little shaky with me, because I know that she spent a large time in a group home around this time, and like it's really odd, because she spent this time in this group home, but they never said anything about her spending time in the group home. So did this happen after she got kicked out of that spot? Was she in the group homes before she went to this place and everything else? Because they made it seem like she went straight from her house to this guy's spot where she was hustling at and everything else, with the spot we were just talking about, and then she went from there back home. But I know in her life, around that time, she spent a great deal of time in the group home, but they didn't talk about that in the movie. So this is what I'm saying. There's a lot of,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying it's a lot of stuff that wasn't talked about, and it's like I question how much of this was just movie stuff. Like I didn't understand the purpose of them showing that scene other than to try to villainize this dude. Because that's the only thing he did. Because that's the only thing he did that you could villainize him for. And like I'm trying to understand the purpose of them, because he didn't rape her. He did kick her out, but he didn't rape her. It actually ended up being a good thing she got kicked out, because who knows, she would have got locked up, because she was hustling out of there. So she could have got locked up. So that could have been a good thing in disguise that she got kicked out. But still.
So you think okay, so let's say that situation went down. as it happened. And this is her true story. This is what actually happened.
Mm.
What is wrong with her sharing that in the film if that's the integral part to maybe with the you said she stayed in group homes and stuff. I didn't really know anything about that. But maybe when she was in group homes or a group home, maybe she wasn't there long or maybe she didn't experience.
She was there long. She was there
Okay.
long. This is what I'm saying. But they didn't
But
talk
how,
about it. But they didn't
but
talk
how can
about
you
it. Huh?
okay. I just don't see how this if this is her situation she went through. I mean, like I said, I can totally understand about things being made a way to make black men look bad. Like I can totally get that. But I feel like even with him, I don't just for whatever reason, and like I said, I'm not a black man. I don't feel like this was an anti-black man film, although I can see where you're coming from. Because even with that dude, he did not rape her, but it was a situation that took place. However, he was on drugs and there was some other things going on with that. He didn't rape her, but later when she needed him or whatever, he kind of came back to help her.
Yeah,
Why isn't
he
that
was ready to take him
why
out.
isn't that seen
He was
as a
ready.
good thing?
He was ready to take him out and
Why
everything.
isn't that seen
Right.
as a positive thing?
Because that's not how people gonna walk away looking at that whole thing. They not going because again they go.
Why not? But we can intellectualize that because the people who are going to bang on black men for this they gonna bang on black men for anything. They gonna pick apart anything. But if we could intellectually sit there and see, okay, well this happened, but you know what? Later on, this brother came back and he tried to help her to get her son back and this and that. Why can't other people? Why wouldn't other people be able to see that?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that. As far as like people are going to bang the people that are going to bang on black men going to bang on them regardless. That's very true. I won't I won't deny that statement. But let me ask you a question. That scene that bugs me and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
What was so intricate about that scene that was needed to be put in the movie? Because I don't see the relevance as far as like the grand scheme of things with that scene.
Well, I mean, ultimately, just from my perspective, because of course, she would have to be the one to say what was so important about that scene. But to me, what was important about that scene is because during that time, that's what caused her to go back to her house. Is because when that situation did not work out there, you know, and he was like, "Now you got to go." She had to swallow her pride to come back to her mama's house. And of course, her mother was a central figure. Their relationship was a key figure, a key part of the movie. So I feel like, in terms of me, that's what happened with that situation. Instead of it working out, and he said you got to pay $100 or $50 a week or whatever it was, and this the other, and everything seemed cool. Okay, cool. I got a spot to stay. This, that, and the other. Well, that didn't work out. So now I'm coming back, knocking on Mama's door. Can I come back home, Mama? That's why I felt that.
But don't you think her spending years in the group home is a little bit more intricate than that little?
But I don't know. Okay, but I don't know where the group home thing lied and all that, because maybe I'm just saying, maybe I'm just purely speculation. Maybe with the group home situation, it wasn't in the capacity of her being put out at that time, because remember when she was in the paper, her mama said, "What did you do now?" and this and that. So she had been doing stuff and getting in trouble. But I'm saying, as far as her saying, "I'm leaving," like her saying, "I'm up out of here," and her leaving, versus her doing something wrong, getting caught, going to juvenile or something and being put in a group home. No, her saying, "I'm out of here." and then she leave and she go to dude house, then that don't work out. Now I gotta go back to mama. So maybe the group home element wasn't a part of that whole mama, I'm leaving your house. I ain't gotta live here no more. I don't know. There's just I don't know. That's just what where I'm coming from with it.
I mean, you know, I just again, I would have liked to seen a
But I know what you're saying.
I just would have liked to see the contrast, so just so we could have that one good black dude to point to, and the one, like I said, the only one good black dude I could really point to was only in the movie for 5 minutes, and that just that just left a bad taste in my mouth. I just felt like I felt like it was purposely done this way. I just do. I felt like it was trying to push an underlying message. I felt, even though I'm not even saying that all this stuff didn't happen to her. I'm not saying that. And yes, yeah, she can tell whatever story she decides to tell. I'm just wondering, why did she decide to tell this version of the story opposed to a different version? Like, is there a message you're trying to push? And if so, what was the message? So, you know.
Because it was, now I'm trying to remember like the positive, if I had to just pinpoint out positive black men or black males, like early in the movie, it was not the boy who she was getting, kind of the big boy, but it was some other black young men that was around that she was cool with, that she was friends with and hanging out with. It was the teacher. I thought the teacher was a strong element because it showed a black male teacher, I guess, who was a teacher who had a lot of impact on her.
Yeah, he was part of the movie too. He was another part of the movie. Yeah, you're right though. He was an adult, but yeah.
And so why? And she put him in the movie.
True.
She didn't necessarily have to put him in the movie. She could have just made it like, oh, she dropped out of school or whatever. But she showed him, and she showed like when he was like, hey, they came up here looking for you. Like, what's going on? You know, that he cared about her. Yeah. And he was trying to find out, you know, what's going on with you. And to me, that was a very positive thing in terms of her showing a positive black male influence, somebody who was a teacher, you know, and like when she first got there and the dude was like laughing and stuff, and he called the boy out like, you know, what, you know, and she's like, oh, he already know me, this and that, whatever. But so I thought he was positive. Biz Marquis, I didn't see was portrayed in a negative way. He was positive when he was like, hey, I'll beatbox for you. That's what I do, this, that, and the other.
Yeah, Biz wasn't bad. She didn't paint Biz bad. They was cool.
You had the bodyguard dude that people talked about. And maybe that was a real situation that, yeah, he was her bodyguard, but maybe he did get locked up. Like, maybe that really did happen.
No, I'm not saying it did happen. It's just that
happened, she lost some of the protection from black men that she had because the black men that was protecting her was out of the picture.
It just would have been nice for him to have some more screen time, something like more than like 5 minutes. Like, I don't know. It just, I don't know. I don't know. Like,
I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying because it's a lot of the same things, you know, that I say about certain things that have black women and stuff. Like, I get where you're coming from, you know. Like I said, just in, like, I feel like I can see things as much as I can on like 2 levels. So I can see it on both levels. You know what I mean? I can see what you're saying because, and then the black man bashers, see what I mean? And she, you know, was sitting up here doing this and that to her. And all these black men, her daddy.
Now I got to defend people holding their kids up for ransom and
yep.
And $20,000 for their baby mothers, and I got they gonna come at me with this crap. They gonna come at me with this crap like I stole $20 from their motherfuckers. Like I held kids up for ransom. I don't want your kids. You can have your kids. I don't, trust me. I'm not going to try to take them for ransom.
Okay.
Yeah. I
know what you're saying. And then they applied that. And mind you, this story is even though some elements of her life, like I said, are things that, you know, the average Black girl or boy can go through in the community, or things we've experienced with parents and different things like that. But her story though is still, it's still a unique story. You know what I mean? Like most girls didn't get into no music industry at like 14 years old or whatever, and was
Yeah.
around all of these people, older people that was doing music and in clubs
And
and this and that.
I mentioned this earlier. Her career really wasn't all that spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't have a lot. She really didn't have a lot of longevity. She kind of was like she jumped in. She was real hot for a while. Then she kind of fell on the back burner. Then she'll pop up every so often, and people will rock with her because they still had love for her. But she never really had that longevity. She never really she didn't have that consistent resume like a MC Light or Queen Latifah or somebody like that. That's why I was surprised she actually got the biopic before them. She was out before them, but I was surprised because I didn't think her story would be that interesting because she didn't do a lot as far as she left a footprint in hip hop, but she didn't. But if you look at the grand scheme of things, she really didn't do a lot. It's just what she did was so groundbreaking. So, you know, so she gets a lot of props for what she actually did do. Even though it wasn't a lot, it was groundbreaking, the little bit she did do. So I was like, dang, she got a biopic? Like anybody getting a biopic now. I was like, you know, but I'll watch it. You know what I'm saying? You know, like I'll watch it. You know, I ain't got no issues with Roxanne Shantae. You know, I rock with this, you know, I rock with her. You know, she made some hot songs. So, you know, I watched it, and again, I was just I should have known the avenue it was going to go because again, I saw Lasheed's title before I actually saw the movie, and being that she was responding to Tariq Nasheed's review, I should have known it was going to be something along those lines when I watched it. But I was just like watching it as a hip hop fan, so you know I was a little bit, like I said, I was disappointed at the lack of things that they should have talked about. Again, it's actually a disgrace they didn't talk about UTFO and the real Roxanne. It's a disgrace. I'm sorry, it just is. You cannot tell that story. How do you tell her story and leave that out? That is just you can't do that. You cannot do that. That is the greatest omission they have in this biopic is the fact that they did not have UTFO and the real Roxanne, and they didn't focus more on the whole Roxanne phenomenon. Like if you watch the movie, you don't understand
that's why she didn't want it to be
phenomenon is, and that's very intricate in her story. Is the Roxanne phenomenon? Without the Roxanne phenomenon, she don't have this biopic. So for them to kind of like just brush over it, like okay, you know, she did the song, and okay, it hit the radio. And that was kind of just like, you know, okay, then she did an interview talking about how she did the song. And that was kind of just it. Like, damn, that's all. Like they don't talk about the diss, and they ain't talk about the UTFO getting mad and them going back and forth and bickering at each other and all this stuff. Like they didn't get into none of that. And that was like her whole career. They just left it all out, and it was crazy.
And I feel you, and I think that's why I was saying, like, I don't think she really wanted it to be like just about that. I think she wanted elements of what all happened in hip hop and her, but I feel like the movie was more about just her story in general with her life, what she experienced so young.
Yeah,
before she was even 18.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was, but that wasn't what I was expecting to see.
Okay.
But,
okay.
I do understand that they had to put a lot of that stuff in there just to be able to make a biopic interesting with her because her career wasn't that huge. It wasn't really a whole lot to talk about as far as her music career. But the little bit that they did have to talk about, they kind of just skimmed over. So it's like, how do you come on, y'all should at least spend a half hour on this. At least out the hour and a half, you know, at least a half hour on this alone. Like if you wanted to spend the other hour on the other stuff, then fine. But this should at least got a half hour because this was big. Like the Roxanne phenomenon. Like again, people are not going to watch that movie. People that was not around during that era is not going to watch that movie and realize how huge that phenomenon was. They're not going to get a good grasp of how huge this thing actually was at the time by watching this movie. And that I think they did that whole phenomenon and hip hop in general a disservice by not touching on it more. I think they should have. Because again, like this was like the original diss track. Like this was big. Like this is like this is groundbreaking stuff. Like this was like this should have got a little bit more focused than it did get. I don't mind. Again, I understand they had to have. You got a lot of filler. With trying to do her biopic because again, her career wasn't X, Y, and Z. So you got to fill up enough time to fill up a whole movie. I just would pick certain other things to focus on other than I don't know.
I feel you. I can see where you're coming from because you're speaking from a hip hop fan perspective, like you said, who was from that era, and so you looking at it like, man, it was all of this other context, all these other situations going on that could have been like expounded upon. Whereas I think it was more so like, I feel like you said that this you were expecting was to be the main focus, and that all the other stuff kind of that she experienced kind of more so the backdrop. Whereas it was the opposite, I guess, is what her intent was, which is that her career, the hip hop element, was kind of in the background, and in the forefront was her personal life or experiences. But you know what? To rock with you 100% on what you're saying, just to go ahead and listen. I definitely have to put question marks because it was Pharrell who was behind this movie. And Pharrell,
Forrest Whitaker as well.
Yeah. And Pharrell, he's totally with the agenda. He's totally with all of the things that are, mischaracterizing black men in general. He's heavy with pushing the homo agenda thing. And he's all the way up behind the white supremacy. So with somebody like him too, heavily behind this, I'm like, yeah, I can see, because a lot of times that's what they'll do. They'll use, other black people to, push certain agendas and things like that. And it's like, oh, well, this is made by a black person. And at the end of the day, that doesn't mean it's something good or it's something productive or beneficial for black people.
Yeah. I heard people make this comparison. I actually got to agree with them. I did kind of, because I got the same feeling after watching this. This is kind of like the hip hop version of The Color Purple. I felt that I had the same feeling I had after I watched The Color Purple was the same feeling I had after I watched this. After I watched it, I just felt like, damn, man, we do not look good. we look like.
Oh, no. Okay, I see what you're saying. My bad. I thought you were saying like, okay, yeah.
Yeah. As far as the depiction how men look, like men just being complete assholes throughout the course of the whole movie, and this one was a little bit worse than The Color Purple on the strength of this one was a true story. The Color Purple was actually fictional.
But then how can it be that much worse if this was her story? Like, if I know what you're saying, I know what you're gonna say.
That's what makes it. Understand what I'm saying? Understand what I'm saying? That's what makes it worse. The fact that because this isn't fictional. This actually happened. So that's what makes this worse. So
how would they make it worse if this actually happened? So she was telling what happened.
Well, that makes it worse on us. That's what makes it worse on us.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, because if it was fictional, I could just brush it off as that was just some bullshit they wrote. You know what I'm saying? But nah, this actually happened, so that makes it worse.
Because Color Purple, I'm with you, because Color Purple, man, that was definitely a smear campaign.
Yeah.
In so many ways on black men. That's why I was kind of like, You know what I mean? Because I see, yeah, The Color Purple. Hmm. Um, yeah, I mean it was, yeah, it was just a lot with that, and I could see why black men definitely feel away about The Color Purple. I can definitely see that. Then you had this whole the element of like lesbianism in there. You have these black people. It is all these black men that's doing all these things, but you're under a extremely overt, severe form of racism, white supremacy to the highest degree. And you mean to tell me that brutality is less than the brutality? I mean, you mean to tell me the brutality of the black men supposedly in this situation exceed that of the whole situation being manipulated and set up by white supremacy? I
Mhm.
can't get around that. I can't get around that. Because even if you want to be real about it, even with Mr. and the things Mr. did, Mr. was still a victim of white supremacy himself. He was still a victim of the same abuses. That doesn't mean that if there were a real situation like that, he would have no accountability. But you got to take other elements into consideration, especially during the time that The Color Purple was set in. During
Right.
that time, what was it in the
That
was
type of
it the
stuff did
1920s?
happen. That type of stuff did happen. It happened in 1800s, I believe.
Oh,
That
okay,
that
and it
type of
was in
stuff
the
did
South.
happen. Absolutely.
So I can see, I feel the brothers 100% on that, and then also considering who wrote it and then who made it. Alice Walker, she's definitely on the bed wench list. Okay,
Mm,
she's not a white man. She's a feminist. She's and all of this stuff. She's a self-proclaimed feminist. And also, you had Steven Spielberg, a Jew, a white man, who made the movie. So I give a lot of credence. I give a lot of credence to that. A lot. You know what I'm saying? I definitely. That
right.
was yeah. That was on some other type stuff.
Yeah. I mean, so it's like I guess I get the same feeling that some women get when they watch Precious, some of these other movies that women feel like, do a horrible job depicting black women. When you see these movies, it's like they could have did a better job. Because you always want to at least see at least one positive person that represents you in one of these type movies or something. At least one person.
Uh-huh.
You don't want, and when you have a hard time finding one positive person that represents you in these movies, that's when it starts feeling like it's an anti-woman or man-woman movie. You understand, depending on which side of the fence you on. That's just, so yeah. And I definitely had a hard time finding the positive men in this movie. It just really just seemed like she just focused on all the negative stuff, and it's like I felt like she could have focused a little bit on some of the more positive things as opposed to just focusing on the negative. But again, that's the story she wanted to tell it. That's the way she wanted to tell it. She go ahead and tell it. But it definitely pushes off a message.
Right. But also I will throw in there too, because I forgot to mention this earlier, and then I do want to ask you a question about the movie too. Now at the end of the movie, I really didn't think she said anything that wrong. Because again, I feel like after watching the movie, well, I can understand the placement of that though is wrong. Because it is a final thing of leaving you with. Why couldn't they leave you with Nas? You feel me? Because that's huge. He became huge when it came to Queensbridge and all of the above.
Yeah, thank you.
And kind of like the passing of the torch in a way. You know what I mean? Just
Exactly.
the connection there. I felt like it should have left off on that. I didn't have a problem with what she said in the clip. I thought the placement was wrong. It was the placement that was, I feel, that was wrong, because that's what
If I heard her say that like in an interview, I probably wouldn't have tripped. If it was just like a regular random old interview I heard her on, and it wasn't like you, I agree absolutely everything you said. The placement of it at the end of the movie, kind of like it almost like, again, it solidified. It almost solidified that what she was trying to push a message. Like this movie was targeted to the men. Like this movie was targeted, aimed at the men, and it was like, again, if I heard her make those statements, because again, it's not like she didn't say anything crazy, but I thought, bad placement. I think
she wasn't, and she didn't say black men. Although with her being a black woman, it's going to be already.
Yeah, especially we just finished watching
talking about black men.
Nothing but black men. We just
right. But she didn't say it's because black men ain't doing their job, and she didn't say that. She just said we're trying to get back to the family thing. She said because I feel like it's important for a man to know a woman, and she said because don't get mad at me, fellas. Please don't get mad at me, but. So I don't feel like she was trying to be disrespectful or like, yeah, these niggas ain't type thing. I don't feel like she was coming like that with that.
It felt like she was saying, I'm just going to tell you what it felt like to me. It felt like she was saying, men don't get mad at me, but it's y'all fault. That's how it came. That's how it came across. That's not what she said, but that's how it came across to me.
Okay, I can respect that. And also, if you take into consideration now this is why I'm not mad at the clip of that. I'm mad at the placement because they didn't put any other real clips in there. I can't remember seeing no other real clips of her from back in the day that was placed into the movie. But then at the end of the movie, you want to leave that with this message when you could have left on a high note with Nas and what happened, and that could have closed it out. But as far as what she said, if you consider, again, if you take into consideration how old she probably was in that clip, how old her experiences were, and of course, knowing what happened with her father, when she made the comment about the fathers in the home. Right. And because with her growing up in the project, she may not have seen as many of her friends and stuff like that who maybe had their dad there. I don't know. But with her story, from what we do know, we know about, what happened with her dad and everything. And so I feel like maybe, she was speaking from that perspective, that trying to bring the family back together, trying to make the family stronger. And part of it is because she was saying the men didn't want to be, in the home anymore or whatever. She said they kind of wanted to be out and maybe did what they wanted to do. And I think more so she was probably speaking about her own father when she said that. And probably about the baby daddy too. But I think she probably was speaking a lot about her own father when she made that comment. But no, I feel you on that. I feel you. Like, I feel like the placement was just bad. And I do understand when you say you feel like she was just blaming the black men. I can understand that too.
Yeah. I mean, there was two things in this movie that are just unforgivable. Like some of the messed up things, some of it I could chalk it up as just a part of the game. I could chalk it up to the game, like the whole tour, her getting jerked out of her tour money and all. You could kind of just chalk that up to the game. Again, that happened to a whole bunch of people. All those artists have horror stories like that. So I could just chalk that one up to the game. Her having to leave that dude, telling her she got to get out and everything else. Again, she was hustling at the time. And he was a hustler, and whatever happened, I could just chalk that up to the game. Nothing happened, even though it looked like it was about to. It didn't. So, you know, I could just chalk that one up to the game. I can't chalk her father. That is unforgivable. That is madness to me. That you can't defend that. And the whole ransom and beating her up, the baby father beating her up and holding the kid for ransom. That is still, that fucked me up when I heard him say, like, and seriously exchanged his kid for money. Like, that is insane. That is insane.
That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, and you know what? Maybe because I'm different, I need to take that into account, that I don't look at black men in a negative light, and I don't look for opportunities to look at black men in a negative light. And so I can understand, though, that there are those helpers out there who do that, and they wait for these type of things to pounce upon as reasons to point out and justify them swirling, or justify them having all of these negative things to say about black men in general. You know what I mean? So I can totally understand that. And I mean, I don't see it like that. Because I don't know. Because I don't see it like that. Like I said, I can see where you come from, but I don't see it like that at all. Because I see it like, you know, wow, she really went through a lot of things, and okay, you know, well, all right. You know what I mean? I don't see it like, yeah, see, niggas ain't, yeah, man, these black, like, nah, like, not at all. Because how many people could make a story about them no good black mammy and these other black women who did things to them?
I don't like
black
those
women who were aunties who molested them. Black women who was on crack and who did this, that, and the other, who weren't taking care of their children. Like, people could make so many, and people have, you know, but people could say all of those very same things. And I would like to think or hope that a lot of our brothers would not be like, oh, yeah, see, these black bees ain't, even though I know it's that segment, you feel me? But so I will hope, you know, that it's reasonable brothers, of course, like you, other brothers out there like you, who are not going to say that. And that's why my mind doesn't go to that. But I know that it's heifers out there. That's where they taking it to automatically.
Right.
Just like the Michelle A. thing, her movie.
Yeah. That's another one.
You know. Now, see, this is where I'm going to show you the difference real quick.
I actually got more sympathy for Roxanne Shantae just before you go ahead. I got more sympathy than Michelle A.
See, that's what I was about to tell you. That was my point, what I was saying earlier. Michelle A was a grown woman for a lot of different things that she endured. Okay? She chose to get with Suge Knight and do all of that.
That's on her.
Grown woman. She chose for a lot of those different scenarios and different things. A lot of those things were her choices. She was not 14. I mean, she was young when she first started out and stuff with Dre and stuff, but he wasn't like way older. But you know, they was around close to age.
As a man, she lost all respectability to me once she started messing with Suge, being that she was messing with Dre. Even if she left Dre alone, she wasn't supposed to jump over there and start messing with Suge.
I can't sit here and say, Suge, oh my gosh, Suge did this and that to you. Girl, you chose to be with him and you knew he wasn't no damn earthly good. You knew that man he'll kill anybody or take anybody out or step on anybody. You know that. And even if he helped you through a hard time, why does that mean you have to screw him and get with him and have a child with him?
Right. That's ridiculous.
Like, man, whatever. So that's what I was saying earlier. That's I can have more.
Yeah. Now, Roxanne Shantae, I can understand people's sympathy for her, but Michelle A got way too much sympathy to me for my liking. She went through some things, but outside of once you take it outside of the Dre thing, I'll give a pass. But like, you know, the Dre thing, Everything after Dre is on her. She got way too much of a pass to me.
Yeah. I feel you 100%. Exactly. Okay, let me ask you this, and then I'm gonna say something about the 6ix9ine thing. And I don't know when you wanted to end, but I know you probably didn't want to stay on real late because
yeah,
I have to get up early too. So but what I was gonna ask you though, because I don't want us to not miss this. What did you think about the dynamic with Nia Long, with the mom, and with her,
but Nia
and with
Long.
Roxanne Shantae?
Well, I already told you, like in the beginning, you know, I had a lot of respect for her when she whipped up and came up with that 20 G's, because I saw the depression in the father's face, and like he was down, he felt out, he felt like he felt like he wasn't, you know, handling his business and everything else, and he felt like a failure, and he just like he looked like he was lost, you know, bills due, like I'm trying to get up out of here, and then she just came out of nowhere. I guess she went under a bed or something and just whipped out the envelope, and he whipped up and opened it up, and it was 20 G's. I'm like, wow, that's what's up. I'm like, she's a rider. I'm like, you better stick with her. She's a rider. You know, like I had nothing but respect for. I still ain't had nothing but respect for over the whole movie because I couldn't get past that. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause she saved up all her, this, that, and third. So I didn't view her in a negative light, even when she became an alcoholic and, you know, she was a little down on men and everything else. But I understood why she was down on men at that point. Like I kind of I felt her pain. You know what I mean? Like I kind of empathized with it. It was hard not to, because, you know, like, again, that was some grimy shit that the Pops did. That was some grimy shit. So at the end of the day, it's like I felt her pain. And, you know, and he even tried to come back another time and then left him hanging again and everything else. Like, you know, I just felt bad for her, you know. I didn't even see her jumping around from man to man either. She was just sitting there waiting for him the entire time. So, you know, like, and I actually respect the fact that she tried to check her baby father and everything else. Like, she's like, you look like you my age. Like, yeah, actually, you looks older, actually. You want to get real, you know what I'm saying? So, like, you know, yeah, honestly, that's a tough role for that dude to play, too, because he had to kiss that little girl. How old is that girl?
She was like 17.
Like, in real life. Like, how old is she in real life?
In real life, she is real young. Maybe she is 18. I'm trying to remember because I watched her interview.
Okay. I don't want to get off topic. That just hit me like because I remember him kissing her. I was like, she's like 15 and he kissing on her. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, I have a problem with Nia Long's character, to be honest with you. Like, you notice, like, I didn't say anything negative about the mother at all. Like, I didn't have any issues with her.
And I'm glad you said that. You know what? I didn't have any issues with her at all either. I thought that, here's the thing, you know, considering where they was at, they in New York, okay? They in the hood, they in the projects, honey. And, honey, it's survival of the fittest, okay? And so it ain't really a lot of room for nothing else. So she had to be kind of strict and have her boundaries. And with Shantae, that's what she was trying to impart on her. Like, no, it ain't gonna be none of that. Right. You know, and I like when she did tell her too. She said, F money, you need to go to school. You know, so it showed that she wasn't just trying to be on some money hungry stuff for her daughter, although, you know, she was doing the little rap battles and getting her little money and stuff like that off of that.
I thought it was cool that she was okay with all that. Like, she was to go to the bathroom with him. I thought that was cool.
Right. I did too. I thought that was cool. I didn't see anything wrong with the mom. You know, what person or what parent is perfect? You know what I'm saying? Like many people, I'm just like a lot of Black women who are single mothers. you got to take a licking and keep on ticking.
Mm-hmm.
Honest, a lot of times, and it's a lot of black men out here who can understand that because they were raised by their moms or by their grandmothers, and if it wasn't for them, sometimes they wouldn't have ate or a lot of different things. So that is kind of just the story of some of the situations. And I didn't. She didn't show, like, even though the dad had did those things, it didn't show her trying to just browbeat her children behind what the father did. Now, when they was waiting for him to come and get them for the ice cream, he didn't never show up, and way later on, she was kind of let them know, like, yeah, that's why you don't wait on nobody. But I didn't hear her saying, like, she was like, you don't wait on anybody, you know. And of course, she was pissed, she was hurt for her daughters, that they daddy didn't show up. And they waited out here all these hours. The little girl didn't want to go to the bathroom because she didn't want to miss them. That really was heartbreaking, heart wrenching. But at the end of the day, I thought the mother was a good role. I thought Nia Long did a really great job. I respected the mother for what she tried to stand for, and that's why people be like, "Oh, it's the parents, man. It's the parent." It ain't always the parents. Sometimes a hard head make a soft behind. You feel me? Sometimes it is like that. How many of us didn't listen to everything our parents told us to do? Okay? You can teach your child all the perfect ways of everything. And that does not mean that when they leave that house that they're going to do everything you taught them to do. That's just not reality. If that was the case, then this will be a perfect world. Because most parents, not all parents, because there's some awful parents out there, but most people's parents told them decent things to do in life and to not be doing as children or as teenagers. Okay, most parents do that, and look at what happens anyway. So it's not always coming back to your mama didn't care or so and so didn't care. No, sometimes it is just being young and silly and thinking and you end up finding out the hard way. So I also like the fact that even though she has some hard things that happen, her mama still didn't. I don't feel like her mother gave up on her because she was still always able to come back. She was still always able to come back, it seemed, to her mother. And yeah, like when the mama was checking the dude, like, nah, I ain't about to sit up here and say this is okay. Like, what's going on? And you bring this old nigga in here. I'm not sitting here like this is cool. So I like that she did that too. So yeah, I like her character. People could say that she's the proverbial angry black woman or whatever, but whatever the case, she,
Yeah.
huh?
Now go ahead, finish.
See, what I'm gonna tell you is, what I'm gonna say is exactly, I guess, what I was telling you is the same thing with this. For the black woman bashers, they of course will use this movie as well as an opportunity to bash the black mama and the black woman, because then they'll say, see, she was loud and angry and cussing, and she
I don't
was
know how anybody could blame her.
And then, they are.
If they blame her, they either one or two things. Either they didn't see the beginning of the movie, they didn't see the first 5 to 10 minutes of the movie, or they just the same type that you was talking about earlier, where they go and bash black women regardless. Like
no, they already are. They already are. They already are.
These are the types that look for anything to bash black women about.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They already are using it to bash black women. Okay, and then see, she was fast and she didn't see. That's all they want is thugs and all that. They're going to use any line, any scenario they can.
The father wasn't a thug though. He was an asshole. He was a douchebag and all that. But he wasn't like he didn't come across no gangbanging or nothing. Like he wasn't out there hustling drugs and he wasn't no thug. So he was he probably was on drugs. He probably was on drugs though, or alcohol. Something. Nah, ain't no alcoholic. 20 G's. He's on something. He's on some heavy shit for 20 G's. You rip your family off for 20 G's. You on some heavy shit.
Especially back in that time. Yeah, that was a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a lot of money now, and that's money. That was a whole lot of money back then. That's a down payment on the house. Back then, you get a down payment on the house 20 G's.
Yeah, so but yeah, man, there's so much more we can expand on this about. But I did put on the flyer about the Tekashi thing, but I almost want to wait till we do another show because it's so much I want to break down on that because it's not about that. It's not about him or that interview. It's about what that represents for the larger Black community.
Yeah, I still got to watch that.
Oh, okay. So you didn't see it yet. Okay. So we'll wait and do that. Well, we're going to talk to come up with a day, but I'm hoping we can do something like, I know it'll be kind of well, not necessarily an odd day, but it might be a good night to do it, but maybe like Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll be off. I won't be off till Monday. So,
okay.
Maybe, Monday night we can do the whole Tekashi thing. So that gives you time to watch that thing I sent you, and then because I definitely want your input on the different. I feel like it touched on so many different issues. So yeah. But
did you watch that video I sent you earlier?
Hold on, let me pull it up. I think I had. Oh yeah, I did.
That crazy chick. Oh man, I don't know what's wrong with these. I don't know what's wrong with these self-haters.
Yeah, Tamar Braxton.
Huh?
Tamar Braxton.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's sitting up there. Oh, she's so pretty. And she's sitting up there talking about some damn that's why she had blonde whatever. She's crazy.
Yeah, just some self-hate, straight self-hater rhetoric. Like, yeah. We'll touch on that probably next time.
Yeah, that'll be good too. Okay, well, love you guys. Thank you. And we're gonna try to keep building this channel up. I know Psycho probably gonna be doing some stuff.
Yeah.
This weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And everything.
Definitely.
And all that good stuff, all that jazz. So I hope to be doing. I hope though then to be able to do a blog talk show Sunday night, so we can do the combo. Because man, I haven't done a show in a while. So so hopefully we can work that out and everything. Y'all please of course like, share, subscribe. And I love you guys. Peace to friend. What's up? Rashid. What's up? Sister Muchacha. Who else did I see in here earlier? I saw Shorty in here. I saw Brother Heru. And a couple other people I can't remember. But anyway, everybody
African Black Chaos just came in mad late, by the way.
Okay, Africa. Peace out to you, brother. And Brother Garwin. To all the family, much love, y'all, and you know, it's just been crazy hectic. Like, it's been crazy hectic. Like, this is my schedule and different things. So I really, it's so much stuff that we done kind of missed on talking to. Plus, with all of the little other stuff we had going on with these people who try to censor folks. You know, them trying to slow us down. Between that and everything, it's been so much stuff. But hopefully, we'll be able to get everything back on track
Yeah,
here very soon.
definitely.
And yeah.
Gotta keep pushing. Gotta keep pushing. Y'all already know. Yeah, but like she was saying, shout out to everybody in chat. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Let's see, what's the day? Today Tuesday. Try
Mm-hmm.
try to come back on Thursday. I'm gonna try to come back on Thursday, and we'll see what's going on. And shout out to everybody in chat. Do me a favor, click like, share, subscribe. Be sure be sure my haters click dislike, share, and unsubscribe. Get y'all asses out of here. Be sure to click the notification bell so you can get notified when we go live. So far, everybody's been getting notified over here, unlike my other channel, so that's good. Please subscribe to the Black Building as well. We'll also be going live over there soon. See, got a PayPal link there in the description for anybody that's looking to support the channel. Also, in the link in the description, you will see a link to Renee Black Graphics. If you're looking for any graphic designs, logos, or whatever, please hit her up. You know, she does excellent work. You'll find the link again in the description. I want to say shout out to everybody in the chat again. I'm going to try to come back on Thursday, and we can discuss some things. Peace and Black Power. I'm out.